Okay, welcome everyone to another Draft Archetype Skeleton stream with the by now named Skeleton Crew. I'm having with me JasonILTG again, Tajoordan, and Sierkovitz. Hi, folks. Do you want to introduce yourselves, or do we now assume that people know who we are? We can skip this part, right?
I think so. It typically goes pretty long anyway.
Indeed. Twitch, Twitter links at the end of the slide deck. If you want access to the slide deck, that is available to you all. ! slide deck will give you the Google link for you to access. ! guests also shows you some information about the guests. So by now we've done this a couple of times, but this is how we build Archetype Skeletons. We definitely recommend you using slidedeck.tech. They now have this great sets/DMU hyperlink for you to use, which gives you all the cards in the set. Very easy, very convenient. And then again, we're building draft archetypes to get a feel for the format, like what's good, how realistic is it to get like a blue-red spells aggro deck, or how realistic is it to get a good black-green graveyard deck, or whatever. And to get a good feel for that, we are restricting ourselves to reasonable numbers, namely 0 to 2 rares, no duplicates, 0 to 8 uncommons, no duplicates. The rest we fill with commons, where we take a maximum of 2 each. And the above guidelines include non-basic lands, but obviously we can add basic lands freely. All right. In the slide deck is this slide as well. Links to all our draft archetype skeletons you can find there. You can find our different takes on the different archetypes. While we go through the 10 archetypes, we'll be looking at 1, maybe 2 of each, especially if we have like very different opinions on an archetype, we might look at 2. But normally we'll do 1. So if you're interested in the others, go ahead. Jason, I also noticed you did something where you focused on like color-specific builds. Maybe it's cool to look at those during the general part of the colors. Is that the intent?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Like, cool. Basically, the reason I did that was because I felt like a lot of the 2-color archetypes were more like you take the 2, like, white is go wide, blue has like instant and sorcery stuff, and you like put those together and to make the like a white-blue deck. And like it's not always like that. I think there's some like red-green, I think, is would be leaning more towards green than red, and like I think like black doesn't have much of its own identity, which is why I didn't do one for black. But I feel like I felt like there was more value in looking at least more value for me in looking at like the single colors than like each 2-color pair.
Awesome. Cool. Cool. What was the reason you've built Band? Is that also something we want to go into later?
That was just because I was thinking about a specific card, Zaro Janin, and trying to slot that into a deck around, like, built kind of around that. Yeah, that was. I figured I'd put it up there because I like did build it, but.
Neat. Maybe we'll find some slot during the next 2 hours to look at it, and otherwise it's in the slide deck for folks to look at. Big picture removal, Pawel. This is your spiel, right?
Huh? What? All right.
Take us through.
God, I did really deep dive on removal this time because I had to write an article. Spoiler alert, it will come soon. But I looked at it from a slightly different perspective than normally. I mean, obviously there are all the statistics for the damage-based and conditional removal, but I think that this format has a good mixture of removal types. So there is like a bunch of white and black unconditional removal. There is a cycle, a pseudo cycle, let's call it, of 3 different versions of Oblivion Ring at the common, uncommon, and rare.
I think those are called super cycles, like when they go a cycle across rarities. I think.
But I mean, is it really a cycle, or is it just bad design? Because I'm sometimes I'm feeling like, well, pacifism doesn't work. Let's make more Oblivion Rings, and then people that were doing rares did one, people that did uncommons did one, people that did commons did one, or something, and one of them is for constructed, one of them is for draft, and all of a sudden you have 3 cards that do basically the same.
Right.
I
However,
think
we
I've
have
heard
it.
of Mark Rosewater talking about super cycles on like Drive to Work, so I think it's like actually a thing that they do in design, and sometimes maybe
Okay.
maybe more prominent earlier in design. But
Let's
yeah.
err on the side of attributing planned action from WotC. So that's
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have I don't have a grudge with the design team because they were doing a banging job, but I don't know. Somehow I get a sneaky suspicion that they didn't plan to make 3 different Oblivion rings in one set. But they are
it's
there.
probably to prevent us from solving the format too early, Pawel, because they like try to confuse us.
What do you mean
so that we
solving?
don't.
It's solved. It's solved. I mean, we're just gonna see what Jason proposes and we play it from day
All
one.
right. Sounds
No,
good.
don't. I think my takes might be a bit hot this set.
I heard
No,
Bant is where it's at.
That Bant list is the sauce. You could just skip everything else and just look at that Bant list.
I'm actually super curious to see it, to be
Yeah.
fair. But
Same.
I mean, the O-rings are pretty decent because I don't think that, except for the green uncommon that can sort of accidentally destroy an enchantment, there's not much that destroys enchantment that you'll be playing, at least in best of one, because they just are not good enough, the other cards that can destroy enchantments. So there's no like incidental enchantment removal in the set, except for I think Mythic Ape of some sorts that can do that. And I think that, you know,
Aren't there
play against
2 red cards that do it? The instant and the 2/2?
I think those
Or
are
is it
artifact only.
Only artifacts?
Yeah,
Okay.
they do an artifact. They don't do. There is the something evil.
White one,
The white card.
Oh,
Destroying evil.
But I don't think it's playable in best of one. It just doesn't hit. But we'll go to that.
Oh,
There's the green one that's like exile.
Yeah, I said the green
naturalized,
uncommon that
yeah.
can be an sort of assassin's trophy. That one is the only thing that accidentally destroys enchantment.
you can also.
And there is 2 other cards which are the destroy evil, and the other one is the take these broken wings, obviously.
You can also use the uncommon white card to deal with the common or the rare one, and I think the rare one deals with the common too.
Oh yeah. Those 2.
Yeah,
are
you
like
can Oblivion
O-rings.
ring the Oblivion ring. Yeah.
That's
also
one of the
an
few
option.
ways to interact with the Oblivion ring is the other ring.
Exactly.
Can we get a 3 Oblivion ring loop?
Ooh, that would be a good one. Probably was going to be a bounty and draft club or something.
Yeah.
So as normally it happens, white has those Oblivion rings. Black, they do have some unconditional removal because there is the Extinguish the Lights, which is mono black, and there is Bone Splinters, which sort of deals unconditionally if you have a creature to sacrifice. And there's also 2 black spells, but they're actually a blue spell and a green spell. So the one that we mentioned, that with a black kicker can destroy any non-land permanent. And there is a blue spell that puts something, a creature or planeswalker, at the bottom of library, which is as good as unconditional removal in that particular case. So there is a chunk of those in the format already. But there is plenty of damage-based removal, which will be helping with like early threats and dealing with them. And especially that early threats don't seem to be like particularly powerful. I think that the early removal is good enough. There is a bunch of red things. So Lightning Strike obviously is dealing with like a large chunk of the creature base. There is a black spell that gives -2/-2, a red spell that gives +2/-2 that can deal with all the early drops. So there's plenty of that, and maybe some removal that deals with bigger creature. Now, the only thing that is really like looking clunky is the conditional removal, because there is maybe 4 cards that are sort of conditional removal, and only cut down looks like only cut down is something that you want to be playing. The rest of them, they hit like 20-30% of spells, so probably sideboard strictly for best of 3. But on top of that conditional and unconditional removal, there's a bunch of tempo-based removal. So there's a bunch of things that tap things that don't untap. There's a bunch of bounce that looks quite promising, because it's not the sort of dumb bounce that you just pay 1 mana and bounce something, but it's a bounce with draw a card, bounce that is attached to creature. So exactly the kind of thing that you're looking for into playing tempo strategy. Also, the tapping things, they also synergize with spells, matter, synergies in blue, red, and to some extent white and black. So all those cards, they look like there is like a one coherent package of tempo focusing on white and blue that can potentially give a different aspect to removal. So you don't deal with the creatures permanently, but you do it in such a way that you gain advantage if your board presence early allows you to get in for some damage, and opponents sort of never can get out of it. They replay their creatures, waste mana, but nothing comes out of it, sort of kind of situation. Could we have next slide? So there's also like a bunch of sweepers, and I think that depending on how the format aligns, they can be from very good to medium. Especially there is like who added Smash to Dust to that slide.
That card is broken. I'm calling it now. That's the main deck inclusion.
Doesn't even kill Young Red Dragon. Anyway, oh no.
Wait,
it
no,
does
now
after
it does.
rebalancing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. A young red dragon is never blocking if you have a Smash to Dust.
That's true. So it's like a reverse defender.
Thing is broken.
But anyway, I think that if the format turns to be a bit quicker than we maybe anticipated initially, things like Choking Miasma and maybe to some lesser extent Temporary Lockdown, but this card looks weaker, but Choking Miasma looks pretty decent, can play a role in the format because it basically kills all those go white strategies. And if there are things that base their game plan on dropping lots of X2 creatures in the first couple of turns, Choking Miasma can actually win you games. I mean, obviously, the Elder Dragon War is busted without the sweeper, with the sweeper or without. But for sort of like controlling archetypes, I think that Drag to Bottom, Temporal Firestorm, and Karn Silex are really good additions if you want to build a deck that plays a slow game early and then takes over and has some larger threats. So I was thinking like Drag to Bottom, especially Drag to Bottom can be especially useful in some sort of Esper Shell if the wall synergies or the defender synergies will be useful in any way. You can play an Esper deck, have access to all the creatures with defender in the format except for one. And if you have Drag to Bottom, you can actually use it as a Wrath, and maybe some of your defender creatures even survive. Temporal Firestorm can be in some kind of a ramp deck because you can ramp to it and get to the situation when you can play it with kicker or maybe even with two kickers. And I guess if you play Temporal Firestorm and kill basically everything on board and two of your biggest things survive, you will be able to win that game later. And Karn Silex, I was thinking maybe there are several of those creatures with absurd casting costs that can be decreased. So I'm talking about the Tolarian Terror and things like that. I think that Karn Silex can be sort of like a neat build around when you focus on one of the synergies for those kind of cards. And then you can play Karn Silex, wrath everything up, but your 8 mana creature will survive because there's nothing else on board that will be 8 mana because you spend the early turns to sort of build the situation when you can play the Tolarian Terror or is it Withering Necromass for much cheaper, so you can actually play it before you start playing the Karn Silex or something like that. So I thought that there are some interesting potential strategies involving sweepers in the format.
I'm like kind of skeptical of the Silex because like you have to play it face up because it enters tapped. So like your opponent knows about it for a turn. And like you also have to pay like so much mana into it, right? Like 3 mana plus like mana equal to like their biggest thing.
Yeah, but I was more thinking like a game plan that you play your control game and at a certain stage you drop your 5/5 lead to a board stall, then you drop the Silex and then you clean up.
Yeah,
it is like
about like
3 mana destroy all tokens next turn, right?
That's
sure. I'm just a bit worried about like the fact that like
what you're afraid to smash the dust, aren't you?
No, I'm not afraid of that card. I'm afraid of like just having a card that like takes so long to do anything makes it harder to play a control plan. Like, sure, it might be good once you've stabilized, but like, I think generally you're not lacking for things that are good once you stabilize. and you'd rather have things that help you stabilize. So like if I'm trying to like do an asymmetrical wrath thing, I'm looking more at like Choking Miasma, which does a mini find finality if anyone's played GRN impression, where you like, you know, maybe you can sometimes save even more of your things because of the +1/+1 counter if you kick it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure that Choking Miasma will either be like a solid card in any deck or like a very, very, very good sideboard card against some decks that it will just basically win on its own. So yeah. I'm still not sure if it's going to be like an obvious card to play in every deck in best of one. I'm not sure.
I think the Silex is more of a commander card, but like it is like invest 3 mana and then later on in the game you can look for like a 2-for-1, right? You can like very actively trade your low CMC creatures off.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff like this.
my biggest fear is that when you play it for 3 mana, it's one turn, that important turn that you don't do anything that affects the board now. So I was more thinking of playing this control game and, you know, using your artillery barrages in the early turns, or whatever it's called, the artillery blasts in the first turns, and then once there is a situation that you're trying to get into, so a stall, then you can use it to solve that stall. And
so for me, I feel like with the current Silix, like I probably wouldn't want to like first pick it, but like let's say I get one, you know, pretty early in the draft, like it falls to me. I could definitely see kind of like Sierkovitz was saying, where you use like the mana reduction, maybe the green one. I think it's Yavimaya something, Yavimaya Sojourner, as well as like using the 0/2, like the Gatekeeper Vine impersonation, where you're ramping to the domain, you're playing that early 5/5. You can use like the 0/2 to chump for a turn that you play the Silix, and then the Silix is more that card that like deals with the go wide opponents, which is really kind of the one spot that you'll probably lose with this domain plan, is like someone just gets too far around you and like they're attacking with too many wide things. So if I were ending up with this card early, I think I would like it in a green shell in general, just to kind of clean up the white decks.
Okay, I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about Fraying Line last time? This looks like a worse Fraying Line to me.
We talked about Fraying Line and we came to the conclusion that it was not good, I think.
I think I was higher on Fraying Line than the rest of you, and I think this looks like a worse Fraying Line to me.
I literally don't even know what Fraying Line does.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it's another art. It's like an artifact wrath in quotes. That like, you know, you play it and you have to wait a turn for it to do anything. Like it only guaranteed wraths on your turn. And Fraying Line, at least you don't have to spend any mana on making it wrath. Silex, you have to spend additional mana on making it wrath. And the Fraying Line like actually hits like all but the biggest of your opponent's creatures, whereas like Silex, like,
but I mean,
like,
Fraying Line gives agency to the opponent, while Silex does not really.
True.
Sure, but the agency it gives your opponent is like fairly limited, and I think that's worth more than the like extra mana you have to put into Silex. You're taking 2 turns off to play and use Silex, basically.
Okay, fair. I mean, sure. I think, Benji, that you are going to first pick it in paper, as it is $12 card. So
yes.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
I guess people are excited with it with Karn, the busted one in Modern.
I'm sure it fulfills some role in EDH that we have no.
Right. It
Maybe
kills
we should
Soul
just
Ring, stuff like that.
talk about EDH, because I heard that's very popular for people from other formats to start the random comments about what should EDH players do.
Well, if we're going with Twitter discourse, why aren't we calling this big picture wraths?
Right. Moving on.
Transitioning,
Yeah.
I think we've spent too much time on rares.
Too much time on a commander card.
Which is why I added a common rough, right? Okay.
Yes.
Moving on.
But there was an uncommon there. Hello.
True.
We'll talk more about the miasma later.
Oh yes.
Spoiler.
Because you have it in every black skeleton that you made?
Because I forgot to include it.
Okay. So how does the damage removal align? Well, basically, there is not much that can deal 1 damage in the format. There is the Cyclops that I put on a picture here, and there is one creature that when it dies gives -X, -1/-1 to some other creature.
You forgot
But I
Kristen's
don't think
card.
it's also.
The deal 1 to all your opponent's creatures.
Oh yeah, and that thing. No, that's in a different category because it does so much more than that.
Yeah, we'll call it the
Um,
Sanderstorm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And actually, it doesn't seem like it's a very important. It's a very important card because it barely deals with any uncommon. There's very few uncommons with 1 toughness. Deals with 20% of common creatures, which is sort of on par for the previous formats. Which I didn't put as a slide because why would I? But I do have that data somewhere. Or do I have that data? Yes, I do have the data. So that's basically on par. I think that Kamigawa had like 27% of the creatures being 1-drops on common level, and I think the worst was Kaldheim, which only have 13%. So that's roughly on par with the previous formats. Where do I lose my? Where did I lose my stuff? Okay. So actually, Streets of New Capenna was a big outlier because it had a lot of X1s. So in this case, I don't think we need to worry about it at all. Now, in terms of 2 damage,
there are 22 cards that make X1 tokens in the set.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I mean, do you want to
quite a
spend a
lot.
card to kill an X1 token? I think that is the problem. Like,
It depends how big a part of the card it is, right? Like Captain Skull, you destroy the entire card.
which one?
For a Captain Skull, for example, right? That's like a 1-for-1 trade.
For 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah. If
what
I can
what I'm
destroy-
trying to say, what I'm trying to say is there are quite some cards where the token is actually a big piece of the puzzle. But
no, but I mean, in the Captain Skull, a token is 1/3 of a card, not a card. 3 tokens are a card. Like,
yeah, no, that's
if you would have a spell that deals 1 damage, it would just destroy 1/3 of that. So you basically trade a card for 1/3 of a card, which is not a great
Right.
deal. That's why I'm
But
like,
what if there was a card that dealt 1 damage to all opponents' creatures?
yeah, I think it's a great. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great sideboard card because that card will definitely be useful against some decks. It's just that I'm pretty sure that in more than half of the matchups, it will be an absolute. You'll just watch it and say, "Okay, I just mulligan to 6. Thank you very much."
Yeah, because there's
All right.
no artifact.
Hey, it triggers
in the
prowess.
format.
Triggers prowess.
Triggers prowess, yay! There is only Jaya Ballard's +1 gives you a prowess creature in this format. So in terms of 2 damage, lots of common creatures are X2s because when you look at it, around 50 or X2s and less. Basically, a 2 damage spell like Tribute to Urborg or like the Flowstone Infusion, it kills roughly 55% of the creatures in the format. And this is something because it's more than most of the formats in recent years. It's slightly less than Midnight Hunt and Streets of New Capenna, which were the most weenie formats in the last years. But for example, in AFR, 2 damage spell killed only 41% of the creatures, and here it's 54%. So that's quite a substantial difference. And then we get to the important point, 3 damage, because Lightning Strike is, well, widely touted to be the most powerful common in the set. It kills roughly 75% of the creatures at common level, which is where you really care, because that's the creatures you will see the most, which is, it's roughly as you would expect it to be. It's actually slightly lower than most formats in recent years, but not by much. Most of them were between 73 and 79. And again, Streets of New Capenna was a slight exception with 83%, but lots of creatures there had shield counters, and that's why their toughness was slightly smaller than you would expect on average. Now, cards like Harloon Battle Hymn, actually, that's the only card that deals 4 damage, but it kills basically 85% of the stuff that is in the format. So that's pretty good. I think that you would just keep it as a premium removal, treating it almost as unconditional and knowing that, sometimes you're going to miss, but there's not so many situations where you do that. And a lot of those are actually 2/5s, which you're quite happy to play against anyway, so that's fine. 5 damage, so Jaya's Firenado. The card is not looking super strong because it's sorcery speed and, expensive. But it is as close to unconditional removal as you can get. So you can basically think about it as a sort of sorcery speed, Eye of the Beholder from the rebalanced version of HGPG.
Hey,
Kills
Scry's
almost
one.
everything. I think there's like 2 mythics and one uncommon, one uncommon that doesn't kill. Are you pointing to something, Tajoordan, or are you just like making?
Oh, it's Scry's one, like Jason
Yeah.
said.
Oh yeah. It does scry. It does scry one.
Makes up for instant speed, maybe. Maybe not.
Which-
It's clunky either
But
way.
it doesn't mean it's the second coming of Imperial Oath, unfortunately. The fact that it scries a bit.
Yeah.
And I just gave this as an example of theoretical 6 damage spell, Artillery Blast. If you have a full domain, that kills almost everything. It just misses the 7/7 creature at uncommon and 5/7 creature at mythic rare. So that's fine. I think you're good. If you manage to get domain, Artillery Blast kills everything and is pretty efficient. And I guess you should be actually trying to do that possibly when you're playing a control domain deck, having lots of Artillery Blast, because you might be the only person interested in drafting them.
An interesting thought for Artillery Blast 2 is that it would be pretty common to probably have it in like 3 colors of mana, so you could kind of use it like look at the 4 damage spot for Artillery Blast to kind of like get an idea of like where it's going to play a lot of the time.
Yeah, you can basically spend a lot of effort to get a Divine Arrow.
Yeah, and it's like hard for it to not do at least 3 damage. Like
That's fair. It's
less than 3.
And again, 3 damage kills 75% of common creatures, which is fine.
Yeah, the main
With a
problem is
blowout
the
potential
tap
of hexproof tricks
restriction.
all around. Them?
Yes. The tap restriction is the biggest.
Yeah,
downside.
that is the problem. But if they are not, I see Artillery Blast as a card in a control deck or in a tempo deck. A control deck that doesn't attack early, so it will be attacked, so creatures will be tapped, or a tempo deck that attacks but misses completely with the opponent, so you both attack each other, so it also doesn't matter that it's tapped. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Totally agree.
Okay, and we have the 4 conditional removals in the set, including Smash to Dust, Sander's favorite pet card. His invitational card, as you can see on the picture. So out of those, Cut Down is something that we're definitely going to play a lot, and in multiple formats, including probably some of the older constructed ones. But it looks like it's good enough to play in a draft as well. It kills 3/4 of common creatures. So roughly the same as Lightning Strike at 1 mana less. So you're getting a better value there. Definitely you're going to trade up on mana if you're using it on something. And it still kills like half of rares and uncommons, which is pretty decent for a 1 mana spell. So you're quite happy with the Cut Down. Also, it's worth mentioning that there is Micromancer in the format where you can tutor up for a Cut Down. And that's great value to get a spell that kills 3/4 of potential creatures for only 1 mana. Now, Broken Wings, it kills like 20% of creatures roughly, but that's not enough for my standards, especially in the set when there's not so many enchantments, and there are several ones that you might want to deal with, but they are focused in 1 color. And apart from that, you have Sagas, but Sagas, people already accrued the value because it's a read-through Sagas. They will go like 1 or 2 chapters, probably most cases. So there is no point where you want to destroy them. Destroy Evil, that kills like a bunch of rares, and I think that again, this is something that maybe you can play in sealed in main deck in best of 1, maybe, because people will have more bombs, so you have like a bigger chance of encountering a large creature. I'm looking at Sander and he's smiling, but that's probably reading chat, isn't it?
I was.
I thought he was looking forward to Smash to Dust.
I was. I am.
Or is he bracing for Smash the Dust? But I think in limited, in draft generally, Destroy Evil just doesn't bring the numbers that are sufficient. And yes, I'm pretty sure that most of us will at some stage play a best of one game and someone will just destroy our Oblivion Ring with it, and we'll be pretty sad that they play it, and then they will destroy our big creature with it because they had a second copy for some reason, and we'll be furious and we'll be chucking stuff at the screen. But I think that in the long run, you are better off not playing it in the best of one, at least for now. And if the numbers are promising, then you can start considering playing it in the main deck. But 24% of common creatures that it can kill, mind you, these are the creatures of high value, so that's something that's worth considering because they have the high toughness. But also among those numbers are 2/5 creatures that I already mentioned, which you probably want to live because why would you just waste the removal spell on a 2/5?
Because they have enlist.
Oh, the 2/5 with enlist, actually, I think that might be a thing. I think that is better than the one with flying. Yeah.
Let's
the one
save the
with
hot takes
Scry
for
one.
later.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even. I don't even think it's a remotely hot take that the flying 2/2 for 4 is a poor creature.
No, agreed.
Now, Smash to Dust, obviously, the Kirsten's Invitational. It kills surprisingly a lot because I added up all the creatures with toughness 1, all the creatures with Defender, and or the artifact creatures because that can kill it as well. Obviously, there's an overlap because some of the creatures with Defender are artifacts creatures, so you can actually choose one of the 2 modes to kill them with. Very diversified spell, but it does kill like 35% of the creatures at common. It's just that what it kills is, well, poor. And yes, it will be amazing against go wide decks with 1/1 soldier tokens, which will happen, I guess. I just don't think it's still main deckable. I think it's strictly best of 3 post sideboard.
I think it all depends on like if we're in one of these Baldur's Gate scenarios where like 60% of the decks are white and everybody is playing like white X decks. Then
but that's still sideboarding. You just pre-sideboard on the game 1, like
yes.
you do on FNM.
You're just assuming your opponent is white,
that
and
guy
then
always
you
plays red. I'll pre-sideboard against him.
Exactly, and then you adjust in game 2. Yeah.
So no, that in that kind of scenario, I can see that happening, but I'm hoping it's going to be better than that.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, let's dive into the colors, and then we can touch on the slide, and then dive into the
just before
build.
because I'm reading the chat and yeah, Van Wilder. That was the movie, wasn't it? Yeah, that's a very good thing, and I think I'm going to introduce it next set. I'm going to also look at the percentage of creatures that you trade up on mana with each particular removal to look at the sort of like value of the removal, basically potential value of the removal.
Yeah, that's neat. Alrighty. Okay, big picture, general. Quickly reading over these stakes. So it looks like a pretty atypical set. A bit like the previous Dominaria, it looks to me. Did you guys have a similar feeling? Like,
I don't have a good enough memory of the previous Dominaria. That was like the first set I ever drafted. That was like right when I was getting into Magic. So I could not tell you like how much it feels like the previous Dominaria. I do remember that the commons are trash. But
correct.
Yeah.
Which is it feels a bit like that here as well.
I feel like there's a lot of powerful commons. Like the gold kicker commons, a lot of them feel very powerful.
Yeah,
and like
those are cool.
I don't know, like Captain's Call looks really good to me. Talarian Terror looks pretty good to me. I don't know. Like it doesn't. It feels like there are decks you can build at common.
Yep.
So for me, Dominaria was the first set I drafted in 13 years because Dominaria pre-release was when I officially returned to playing Magic 3 days after I installed Arena. So yeah, I was definitely not in the mood in the zone then to go deep on format analysis. I was just happy that I nailed it on my pre-release 3-0. Thank you very much. But I had no idea how I achieved it.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I shockingly have played less Dominaria Limited than everyone else. Because I don't think I've ever drafted it. I like had taken like a pretty big break from Magic for like probably like 6 years or something, and I think I came back in like Ikoria or like Theros Beyond Deathish, and I don't know. I guess those are before Dominaria. I don't even know when Dominaria was, but I know that
Dominaria was a
18.
long time ago. It was
Yeah,
Okay.
2017-ish.
In the
Okay,
old
yeah, okay.
times.
So it was during my. I was like, I don't even know when it was, but like I've never drafted Dominaria, but I never even did the throwbacks because I remember people saying that Dark Bargain was a good card in Dominaria, and like having played other sets where Dark Bargain is bad and enjoying them, I was like, this Dominaria set's probably not for me. But
Yeah,
this new Dominaria set looks really exciting.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
But yeah,
Alrighty, so
no experience.
we've also noted here no sharp archetypes, more blurry on the edges. Who wrote that? Can you elaborate on that one?
I wrote that, and I wrote it very quickly just to give like sort of like guidelines to maybe repopulate it later. But guess what? I never repopulated it later. But what I was thinking is that there are themes in each color pair, but I think that each color pair can be built in multiple ways. So I can, for example, imagine myself playing a blue-white deck that is tempo-oriented, a blue-white deck that is go-wide oriented, and a blue-white deck that is sort of control-oriented. Depends on which cards I'm going to open early and how I'm going to position myself in the draft. So some of those cards will be role players in all kinds of types, and some cards are specifically pushing you in one direction. But I'm pretty sure that there will be multiple builds of every archetype possible with... I'm not talking like different shades of aggro. I'm talking like absolutely different from philosophical point of view, how you play the game.
All right. Color synergies are not proportional. Some in 2 colors, some in 3. And it looks like a pocket of synergy formats.
Yeah, with color synergies, I think that's explained on the next slide, actually. But pockets of synergy, I think that there are small clusters of cards that do similar things, but not enough to make it into an archetype, but enough to put it as a module in your deck, like you could do. It's like how it's designed is very reminiscent to me to Ikoria. And obviously I'm known for being a big fan of Ikoria, so I'm hoping for quite a lot here. Also, Ikoria maybe was just good because the balance was there, and here it might be similar build, but the set is going to be rubbish because some things are going to be so obviously much better than the others. But I'm thinking that because of those like pockets of synergy, you will be able to build your deck modularly, so you can basically, I have this pocket of synergy, I put it in this shield, in this chassis. It works slightly different than all the other decks, and yeah.
I think the one exception to the pocket, like I largely agree that it looks like there's a lot of pockets of synergy as opposed to like, oh, this is what this whole color pair is doing. But I think that like white looks like very, very strongly focused on go wide. Like with a lot of.
Do you get it? It's a go wide.
No?
Just you.
I'm looking for my code.
Yeah. I think like even like Enlist points a bit towards like liking 1/1 tokens because you can push them through a bit better with Enlist. So like I don't know. There it feels like white is very focused, and that's one of the things I really like about it in this set.
Yeah, true. But I mean, you also have cards like Artillery Blast, which are absolutely...
You have cards that you'll splash.
Okay, so these are the synergy pockets or the overarching multiple colors archetype that you were talking about, right, Pawel? So in Naya and List.
Yeah, but like for example, like all the Enlist cards are in Naya, and all but one walls are in Esper. But at the same time, when you look at the instant and sorcery payoffs, they're all in Izzet, but except for the blue-white and blue-black multicolor uncommons. These are the only things that care about instants and sorceries outside of the Izzet. So it's like weird that as if they were built to also be able to splash them in Izzet shells because you want to play 3 colors to use slightly more of particular domain payoffs, for example. And on the other hand, domain is just basically green. I don't know if you realized, but every single green. There is like 4 green multicolor cards that have domain, and there is no other multicolor domain cards except for the ones that have green in them. And there is, I think, 2 domain cards for each color, and maybe like 11 or 12 in green. So basically, this is a color that is like green centric, plus you have like small cards from other colors. Not enough to incentivize someone to play domain in other colors than green, but enough to give green support that when they play the domain 5, they also have cards from other colors to play with, something like that.
That reminds me a bit of Landfall and Zendikar, right? Or what was it in? Yeah, I think it was Landfall, right? And then later on we had one set where green was all about things that had like multiple creature types. What was
Are you
that
talking
about?
about things before 2018 when?
Party. No. These are pretty recent, right? We
Are you
had
talking about
more sets
Zendikar
where.
Rising?
Yeah, Zendikar
Okay,
Rising
Zendikar
had Party,
Rising,
I
okay,
think,
okay.
and Landfall, which was also a very green thing.
I remember
right?
in Mirrodin.
Hey, that's coming to Magic Online like in 2 weeks. I'm really excited.
Oh, is it? Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Enjoy your frog mites.
I think we had this. Green is in its own thing. We had that more often, right? I typically don't
Yeah,
like
green
that
was
a lot.
definitely in Zendikar. It was the only color without party, but it also had this like, oh, I'm all types of the party things, creatures or something like that, so that it could be used as weird. It didn't work, but it was there.
Exactly.
But yeah, but I mean, in general, there is more of those that probably we didn't identify correctly, but they are distributed weirdly. But again, this reminds me of Ikoria, where mutate was in like wedge, and then there were like other things that were slightly spread across, and it made little sense from the first view, but then it made sense when you started drafting and when you started seeing those things appearing in the draft.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
Here we go. This is the good stuff.
Well, I added this because like everybody was super hyped about the
it's
Defender archetype, so I was
gonna
like,
be so fun.
Not
let's
me.
throw these-
I personally
No.
think that defenders don't look very good, but
No, me neither. But
I
I
think
saw a
it'll
lot
be
of
bad, but
like.
it's gonna be fun.
I know. I think it was Icky mentioning on Twitter that he was going to force this for the first couple days or something.
Oh, I
And
can't wait to
Ben
see
was
it.
also
Ooh.
like very
Finally, a
high
chance
on
of
this.
me beating Icky.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Florifus Vinewall is like a good standalone card. Gibbering Barricade's a good standalone card, and like if you have enough of those, maybe you play one of the like one of the two the Blight Pile, Coral Colony, or like Wingmantle Cap or Chaplain. Yeah, Wingmantle Chaplain, like one of those maybe. I don't like any of the others.
I think that later in the format, when you can count on getting every Wingmantle Chaplain that the table opens, like that you get some weird like 5-color green like domain decks that are just like defender based, because like the Vine Wall is standalone good, and if you have like a few other defenders and like 3 of those chaplains, like they tend to stack well, and like they're kind of like mini battle screeches. So I think if it's super open, it could be a thing, but it's probably just like a mini pocket in a green deck if I were ever to try it.
Yeah,
You
the
had
thing
me
is,
at battle screeches.
I'm like really skeptical of like playing Chaplain as like the whole thing your deck pivots around, because like sure, let's say you make 4 1/1 flyers, it's not going to make up for the fact that you don't have other real creatures. Like Battle Screech is good when you like pair it with other with real creatures, but if you're already behind, 1/1 flyers are not going to like catch you up.
But
Really?
how are you behind? You have like walls, and they have creatures with 2 power because that's the format.
Yeah,
Like,
like you're in a wall.
Vine Wall doesn't block that. Vine Wall does not
Nope.
block 2 power creatures.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
but Vine will just provide you with the valuable resources. And yes, true. I don't see Vine Wall in that. I see this more as an Espert build.
Okay.
But I guess that Vine Wall is important in domain decks, I guess.
No, I do agree with Tajoordan here on like green based domain deck with like using Vine Walls. That then you could maybe slot in like some chaplains or whatever. I just don't think you want to like fully lean into that as like the entire thing your deck is doing.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
I see Vine Wall more like, I draw this land that I need for my domain and also gain 3 life by jumping. That's how I see Vine Wall.
I like
not
Vine
something
Wall
that
a
will
lot.
stay on the board. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I like Vine Wall a lot. I also
love that
like
it gives
Gibbering
duels.
Barricade. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the barricade is still nice. It's got, you know, a nice stat line and it says draw a card on it. So I'm here for that.
Yeah.
It even sacrifices itself.
You can sacrifice the birds from Chaplain.
Ooh, you can
can
sacrifice
sacrifice the shitty
Vine Walls. Yeah.
Like, okay.
After
if,
blocks.
if this deck works as a like all in, like go all in on it kind of thing, the way I could imagine it playing out that could work is you play early Vine Wall, Gibbering Barricade, you slam a Chaplain at some point, make 4 birds, then you sacrifice the Chaplain to Barricade, and you buy back the Chaplain with like a black, the Soul Salvage card in black green, and then you replay it, and you do things that way. I'm just a bit skeptical of your defensive speed with playing a 0-2 on 2 that you want to keep on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think that the speed of the format will be. It seems like the format is not going to be blistering fast, but it will have the. As I can guess it will have a problem that in some games it will be just you're playing some game and then all of a sudden they attack with like 5 3/2s with trample, and that problem might be severe if you're trying to play this like super long game when they will accrue lots of those creatures and they will be able to charge them and go face because you won't build enough life cushion to defend against that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't think the defenders are good.
But so I think the only archetype I put this in is like Sultai. But when I was building Sultai, I felt like I could leverage the defenders a little. But outside of
I think
that,
it could be viable if Blightpile would drain.
yes, that would be better.
Yeah, if it gains life, that would be busted. I think Blightpile is one of the better defenders here as well. Just like it threatens to block things in a way that makes them not able to attack.
Do.
Yeah, and like a 3/3 actually tussles pretty well in combat, and you can attack with it by using its ability.
No, it clogged the board for enough, I think, and I think the Gibbering Barricade can also clog the board for long enough.
Yeah, Colony as well. That's why I think I ended up with defenders in my blue-black pile, splashing green or something.
Yeah, I think that all speaks to like it being like a hill giant format. Like all the cards are either like 4 toughness or 3/3 for like clogging it up, because like a lot of times people are spending 4 mana on a 3/3 in this format, it looks like. And so, Blightpile trading way up on mana seems great if you're in a defensive deck anyway.
Agreed. Alrighty, more on defenders, or shall we move on to Enlist? Okay, ooh, our all-time favorite, Enlist.
That's why there's so many. Couldn't choose just one.
I think this mechanic is mostly like meh, but maybe plays out better than it looks.
Yeah,
I think it'll be just fine.
We've got a Vanquisher's Axe sighting.
Except for the Coalition Skynet, which is trash.
I think we should first explain what Enlist does. Enlist is, as the creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning Sickness. And when you do, you add the power to the attacking Enlist creature. So how this works on Arena is that based on what I saw of early access is it's kind of like Exert, where if you just hit the attack all button, nothing will enlist. So you don't want to do that if you want to enlist. You want to click on the creature.
But if you hit attack all, then all the creatures will attack, so you won't have a non-attacking creature to enlist with.
That's fair. Vigilance. We've got a 4/4.
No.
Vigilance count because they are attacking. Only non-attacking creatures can enlist.
Oh, you can't even enlist in it. Oh, that's a bummer. Thank you for clearing that up. I would be heartbroken by that in day one.
Okay. Otherwise, there would be a Fate Bonder deck, which would be pretty sick.
Yeah. If you if you use a creature to enlist, there is no way to attack with that creature in the same combat step. Like untapping it doesn't work. Having vigilance doesn't work. It cannot be attacking in that combat otherwise. You can't like double dip with like vigilance or an untapped check or something like that. And also it has to not have summoning sickness. It could have haste, which is why Keldon Strike Team is on here. But like it has to not have summoning sickness. So it's a bit of a weird mechanic.
Yeah. So I think the internet overall is pretty low on the enlist creatures. I think Jason and you and I were both pretty high on the Coalition Warbrute, right? We liked Trample and 4 toughness.
I don't know if pretty high is the best description. For my opinion on it, I think it's like a pretty solid card. 4 mana. I'm a bit worried about 4 mana, but I just like the 3/4 trample stats by itself.
I mean, it's basically most of the time it will be a 2/1 if they need to kill it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's not so many creatures with 4 power, so they need to block it because it can become very easy. Like 6/4 trample, they need to double block it, and it will kill 2 creatures. It's a 2/1. That's fine for a common for 4 mana. That's fine, absolutely fine.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think most of our white decks have like double Cavalier in them when I looked at the build, because that card is just good without enlist. That's just a 2/2 and a 1/1. Yes, it has. But
No, I knew that it has enlist, but I mean, you
can attack with it as a 3/2.
Yeah,
like you can treat it as a 3/2 kind of. That leaves behind.
Yeah, but I mean, and this is the kind of a fine 3/2 because it's a 3/2 that even when it trades with something, leaves 1/1 behind, and that's so much better than having a 3/2 on board, which is a shame in general.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of ways I think you can make enlist stronger than it looks like on face value, and that's like the bottom row. Maybe going over them one by one. So I thought that the interaction with equipments was very interesting, because normally when you equip a creature, you have to attack with it, it dies, and then you have to like re-equip the equipment, which makes equipment quite a hassle. But here with Enlist, you can actually equip the creature that stays behind while still adding the power to the Enlist creature, which is something that I like. I'm not sure like how much stronger it makes Enlist, but it's definitely an interaction that I think has potential.
I don't know how stronger it makes Vanquisher X, but I'm weary of that card. The equip 2 is just putting me off.
We can't play Vanquisher's Axe, I don't think.
I think my problem with that is like past a certain point, for most of the enlist creatures, like adding additional power doesn't do anything. They just like chump it, or they just trade with it with a 2/2. The exceptions are like Warbrute and Sky Knight, but I don't really like Sky Knight. Warbrute maybe, but like
there's the uncommon one that can be blocked with creatures with power 2 or less.
I just realized as well, if you're using the Vanquisher's Axe on another creature like a 2/2, you're getting the 4 power or whatnot, but like you're using 2 different cards, so it would kind of behoove you to just play a different 2/2 instead of the Vanquisher's Axe, and then instead of spending 3 mana, you're spending like 2 mana on a 2/2 that can attack or block, or it can like add to the enlist, because you can enlist with more than one creature. If I'm reading
you cannot.
Correctly.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Just one.
You can only enlist one creature.
I completely Okay. So
no worries. I like the thought.
It's a weird mechanic.
Yeah.
Yes. But what Vanquisher X does is it does make every 1/1 add 3 power to your enlist creatures, right? That's what I like about it. So,
yeah, but it also just makes the 1/1s 3/1s, which like you can already attack with the 3/1. Like you don't necessarily need the enlist. So I'm not sure I would say that's an enlist synergy. I don't know. Or like sorry, like it is a bit of a synergy, but I don't think it's like that significant.
The main reason to play.
I mean, we're gonna see if, because I mean, it might be that just adding this 2 power is just so good in this format and something we couldn't have predicted earlier. But just a word of caution: it dies to smash to dust. So
I was just gonna say that it turns on smash to dust.
Ooh. Alrighty. Another thing that dies to smash to dust. Keldon Strike Team.
Spectacularly to smash to dust. However,
just saying,
only after doing its damage, because smash to dust is a sorcery. So, which I think is the biggest problem with the card. Actually, if it was an instant, maybe worth thinking, because it could lead to blowouts.
Instant speed deal 1 to everything like actually leads to a lot more blowouts, because you can do it like after combat on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So you
Keldon Strike Team, Jason, you already mentioned the haste, but I think just in general, a 3/1 body adding 2 1/1s and then being able to leverage the 3/1 for enlist is something that has potential. Again, not sure how good it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a banger in the white-red decks, no?
Yeah, like the Enlist does really help with the 3/1 body. Like, for example, if you imagine like playing Faith Bonder on turn 2, it's a 1/3 vigilance with Enlist, and then you play Keldon Strike Team on turn 3. Then instead of attacking your 3/1 haste into like maybe they have a 1/1 token, you can attack with your Faith Bonder as a 4/3 vigilance, and like they don't really want to trade with it because like it's your 2-drop. They probably would have to trade down to trade with it. So that's nice with Strike Team.
Yep. For sure. Oh wow. I think somebody turned off the lights here. Somebody wants to take Semite Herbalist and why it might be good.
I mean, generally, I think you mean the mechanic of that, no?
Yeah, that was my thought. Is there's a few cards that have that same ability where it's like when it becomes tapped, like you get an ability and Enlist, because there's only I think 2 vehicles in the whole set and one of them you can't even crew. There's not really another way to tap your creatures.
Hey, you can play Stall for Time tapping your own creature.
True. Oh yeah. Okay. So you have to go through some links to get a tap if you're not in.
Also, I believe there's 3 creatures that have the text when this becomes tapped. There's Herbalist at common, and then there's 2 uncommon legends. Maybe there's some at rare that I didn't see, but Zarojan and Sign of Frava and Rada, I forget the like title. But both of those uncommons are domain. Zarojan like pumps your creatures that are smaller than your domain and they're like that have less toughness than your domain. And Rada gives +X equal to domain. The legends you can tap with the 3-mana rock. There's the like 3-mana manalith that also says like tap an untapped legend you control, add a mana of any color. That's a synergy I'm also excited for. But yeah, like these creatures that you can like tap to get a benefit, and you don't have Enlist lets you like not have to attack with them, which is especially good for Rada because Rada's a 3/3. So it like mostly just dies in combat. And like it's also nice for Zar, but less so because 4/4 is a lot harder to block than 3/3 in this set, I think. But yeah.
I have one more for you. You can tap your creatures to the Ravka Passion's ability when you cast an instant or sorcery.
Ooh, yep. That's also
and
nice.
if that and then if that instant or sorcery is there's the untap 2 creatures, give them +2/+2. You can untap them and then tap them again for another one.
Ooh.
The value is overwhelming. It's good that we were able to make up for this combat trick.
But I think that like casting, making some kind of a band deck. Without foreshadowing, because I didn't actually see the Jason's band deck. Casting a spell, tapping Zarojan, giving +1/+1 to your 2/1 vigilant creatures, and then making them unblockable, and then swinging for 4 unblockable. That's not a bad thing, once you drew a card also.
Yep. Last thing with Enlist on the slide is the Molten Monstrosity. Enlist does add up power of creatures. So it does allow you to cast Molten Monstrosity earlier. Did you see the Frank Karsten tweet? Where he had some sort of turn 3 Molten Monstrosity line in Junt. It was pretty legendary.
Let's see. It looks like.
Did it include Gaia's Might and Domain 5 by turn 3 and then 1 drop or something?
No, it's Toxic Abomination into Gaia's Might, cast Monstrosity on turn 3.
Here, let me bring it up. So it's go ahead.
Yeah, so the problem with using Enlist for Monstrosity is that the creature has to survive combat, notably. And like because like Enlist, you're going to combat to get the trigger first. And then like you obviously Monstrosity doesn't have a flash, so you have to cast it post combat, so the creature has to survive. And like for some of the Enlist creatures, this is a problem because like your opponent probably just blocks it. Like if you're thinking of the 2/2 ape with Enlist, that one, like if you make it a 4/2 to try to cast your Monstrosity, probably your opponent wants to block a 4/2.
Yep, agreed.
I think one card that's missing here is Bayard, or however you read it. The guy that makes a 1/1 when you have a creature with higher power than
Yeah.
printed power. I can
Yep,
imagine
yep,
like
yep.
playing like turn 2 Benalish Faithbonder, turn 3 Bayard, tapping it to enlist the Faithbonder. 3/3 probably is as good as gold on turn
But
3
you
when it's
forget,
attacking.
Bear does not have haste, so you cannot
Oh God,
enlist with it
yes,
on turn
yes.
3.
That's true. I can't do that.
That's
But-
why
but
you
that's
take
definitely,
Hammer Hand on your Baird.
You got all of it, and also that removes the.
Wait, I
blocker
love
from it.
Hammer Hand. Y'all better not be making fun of the Hammer Hand.
Oh, Hammer Hand. Easy C+ for me. If you can.
Okay. We're back, baby.
No, that card is
Invitational.
dope. That card is going to win me many a game in my super aggro decks.
Righty. Let's dive into the colors. You wanna take this part, Jason? I think you've made
Yeah,
most of the slides.
Yeah, so I think white, like I said, is very focused on go wide. So you have Argivian Cavalier and Captain's Call at common. Those are your main tools for going wide. You don't really have anything else because like there isn't anything that's like ETB draw card in white, unfortunately. But these are like really good cards for going wide. Just like making 3 bodies for 4 mana, just really good rate. Same with like Cavalier 2/2 and a 1/1 for 3. That's really good rate. And you have some payoffs with I really like Phalanx, Argivian Phalanx. Like
Ooh,
if you imagine the curve of like play a 2-drop on turn 2, play Cavalier on turn 3. Now you have 3 creatures on the battlefield. You can play another 2-drop, you're up to 4 creatures, and then you can play Phalanx, double spelling on turn 4. Now you've just played a 4-mana, a 2-mana 4/4 Vigilance on turn 4. That's like really strong, and like a 4/4 Vigilance just looks like it's going to be really relevant to the set. Like it looks like it lines up pretty well against the format, like both in combat and against removal spells. And like it's probably not going to be hard to get this. Like if you play Captain's Call, this already costs at most 3 mana, and like it's probably going to be really easy to double spell with it on turns like 4, 5, 6. And then the other payoff is Hero Charge, just like turning your 1/1s into 3/2s for a turn. You can like almost do a kind of thing where you don't really care about what your opponent's doing. You're just going wide and then killing them.
Yeah. It's like basically that your game plan is to take them down to like 11 or something, and then just wait patiently and just.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very similar to what I did a lot in Neon Dynasty, where you had the red +2/+0 for 3, right? That drew a card if you had a modeler creature. It's very similar to that.
Yeah, it's like it is like I think quite a lot better because both going wide is more supported here. You weren't really playing that card with like Imperial Oath in Neon Dynasty.
No,
and
I
also
was
like
playing it a lot with the 1/1s, but doesn't matter.
And also the +1 toughness actually matters a lot. In, like like actually winning combats versus just like
trading,
letting smaller creatures attack. Also, Phalanx. Another thing that makes Phalanx a bit better, which is a bit subtle, is like a 4/4 Vigilance is a card that generally your opponent will be incentivized to it's unless they also have a big creature, it's likely that they'll have to like trade 2-for-1 with it, like maybe trade a token and a 3/1, or like double block with 2 2/2s, or like go for a double block and you play Take Up the Shield, which I think is another really good white card. That like it lets you leverage Take Up the Shield, which is something that your tokens don't do, which I think is pretty important because Take Up the Shield looks like a really premium effect in white that just has a bit of awkwardness with the token theme otherwise. And also just like if your opponent is trading down 2 of their creatures to your 1 big creature, that lets your tokens push through more. Like you really want to force them to make those kinds of trades when you're going wide as well. But and like Phalanx is just a tool that lets you do that. And then like another great common that I wanted to call out was Citizen's Arrest. Just like 3 mana, remove a thing, and like your opponent's probably not playing like main deck enchantment removal, hopefully.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Captain's Call, And this makes me this makes me understand slightly better how busted Imperial Oath was. I mean, imagine that this is a 4-mana card that makes 3 1/1s and nothing else, and we're considering a decent card in the format. I mean, probably not like a super best white common, but
I think it
terribly
might be
far.
one of the best white commons. I think it might be
Yeah.
one of the most
What else is
important
there?
white commons.
It might be one of the most important, and I still think that like Take Up the Shield is going to be probably better, and Citizen's Arrest is just fulfilling a particular important role. But think about it: 4 mana to make 3 1/1s, add 2 mana to that, and double the 1/1s, and also make you scry enough to make sure that it's almost worth drawing a card. That's just
Yep.
insane.
Yep. Yeah. The Captain's Call is certainly not Imperial
I
Oath, but
totally agree, but 6 and
but
4
it is-
mana are like turns away.
yeah.
That's 3 turns away. Yeah, that's true. But you can build around that, no?
Oh, true. I think the Captain's Call will be, and
Imperial Oath at home.
Imperial is insane. Yeah, but like they kind of like they go in different decks. Like I'm not gonna.
Oh
put
yeah, no,
Blue Moon
they
and
go
splash
in
a bunch of
different decks. They
Captain's
do
Call.
different things. This is a top
Yeah.
end for like a go wide deck. The other one was a top end for a super control decks. But just like the rate of
Oh, yeah.
mana to
Rate,
value
it's
that you're
insane
getting
what
is just like
Oath
insanely
does.
different.
And I love that all the white cards, they kind of align. Like they have like a core theme, whereas like I was looking at some of the others and it was like way harder to like put decks together. Like I definitely like
Black
I think I'll draft a
especially.
lot of I think I'll draft a lot of white early because just like the curve of like, I mean, Cavalier, Captain's Call, and Phalanx is with like, I believe you could curve Cavalier into Captain's Call and then cast a Phalanx with like Take Up the Shield back up that turn. You really just have like infinite options. And
Yeah, if you play Cavalier into Captain's Call, your Phalanx costs 1 mana on turn 5.
Okay, yeah, it's.
Remember that you
even if
can start
trade off the
with
2/2,
an
still,
uncommon
yeah.
2/2 that uncommon 1/1 that makes a 1/1. So you can get the ball rolling earlier.
Yeah, I think that
You can basically
okay,
go turn 2 to creatures, turn 3
Look
to
at
creatures,
that.
and turn 4 to phalanxes.
Trade
Oh yeah, there we go.
Sheik.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
that's
seems
my
like a
goal.
good
That's my
opener
goal.
to me.
Yeah, I'm on that deck. I'm on this deck.
This seems
And
busted.
then and opponent turn 3 Karn Silex, and you'll be laughing and until you get to 6 mana. No, that doesn't.
Oh no! If your opponent plays Silex on turn 3, they're too slow.
Yeah. No, they're way behind. That doesn't touch
They're
the 6
dead.
drop.
Yeah, they need a dark ritual.
Turn 5,
That's
attack
why
you with
Nevinyrral's
3,
disc
4,
was
4.
good because you had Dark Ritual then. Because Karn Silex is basically like a take on Nevinyrral's disc, I guess.
Yeah.
Also
Swamp
comes into
Ritual
play tapped,
Silex.
destroys everything.
Alrighty, let's quickly look at the white skeleton, but I think most of the cards we've already seen will be in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One note is that like the 2-drops are kind of medium. Like
Yeah.
I think Faithbonder is likely going to be actually a bit better than it looks, and like
I
Sleeper,
think so
I think
too.
it's pretty good if you can kick it. Like being able to trade one of your tokens for one of their cards, like even if you trade token for token, that's probably fine. Yeah, and like just the flexibility is nice, but like it's definitely worse if you can't kick it. But like 2 mana 3/1 is one of the better 2-drop bodies in the format, or more aggressive at least.
Yeah, I, when I was making my skeletons and they were not the white black ones, I was looking for like white 2-drops and I'm just like, it's still the sleeper, I guess.
Yeah, and also
the exception is that there are 3 really busted 2-drops at uncommon and white. One of them is really busted. The other 2 are like just also really solid. Like white has good 2s at uncommon, not at uncommon.
I mean, the
So
knight is great. Missionary is busted.
Yeah.
This 3/1 was also like one of the last cuts as an off-color card from one of my skeletons. But the more I think about it, the more I worry, because like with it kind of feeling like Ikoria and with all these 1/1 tokens running around, like I remember the 3/1 for 2 in Ikoria not really standing out by any means, other than in some like niche decks. So I don't want to be playing it off color, I don't think, but I probably will have to quite a bit just based on like the
but you know here it's slightly offset that basically if they have multiple 1/1s, you just like enlist the 1/3 vigilance with them, and then what do they do? So this is the biggest advantage. Like enlist people are getting lower and lower in it, but I think that being able to utilize those 2-drops late in the game and still getting something valuable is just that we didn't talk about it, but I think that there is like tiers list of the enlist creatures, and I think that larger butt is a good ability. Trample is a good ability.
Vigilance,
I agree.
trample.
Yup.
Flying would be good, unless it's a 2/2 for 4, but flying...
Well, yeah, I mean, I already made that point, but I mean, for me, this is like a Loyal Pegasus that costs 1 more mana, and that's exactly the same as Loyal Pegasus would do. You just need to pay like 1 extra mana for that, and Loyal Pegasus was not good at 3 mana already.
Yeah. So Faith Bonder, I think, is like one of the enlist cards I'm a lot like other. Okay, Cavalier I'm interested in, but not for the enlist. That's just because it's like a really good rate on its own. Faith
Correct.
Bonder is one of the enlist cards I'm actually excited for its enlist, because I think like the 3 toughness makes it line up really well against the format, where if you enlist like, even if you enlist like a 2/2 or something, or maybe even a 1/1, like it's going to be hard for your opponent to trade with it without either trading down, like them either trading down on mana or trading down on cards. Like either they have to make a awkward double block, or they have to block with their like big thing, or they take like 4 damage from you enlisting.
Or they have Banalish Sleeper.
Yeah. So like, I think Faith Bonder is going to be better than it looks, because it provides you some flexibility in the late game, and also like there aren't that many good 2s anyways.
I'm also secretly, but deeply secretly, interested in the 2/5 enlist guy, because
you do you.
I think it can be decent. Weirdly, it can be like 4 mana 5/5 on attacks. I mean,
Sure.
yes, obviously you need to tap a creature for that, but
Sure.
and 5/5 in this format is not something found regularly. So
Correct. This Phyrexian Missionary, is it just me, or is a 2/3 lifelink without any other text just like a very good 2-drop?
Yes, like
Yeah, it is,
Missionary
That
is
card's
like
insane.
one of the best uncommons in the set, probably.
Yes.
Why is there so much text on it?
This thing is just good in a white-green deck or a white-red deck, right?
oh yeah.
See, the reason is because the Phyrexians win, so the Phyrexian cards have to be good.
Yeah, it's 3 toughness. It's
Spoiler
literally
alert.
better than Story Seeker as a white card.
Yeah, it's super good.
Yeah.
Hey,
and
and sorry,
people
go ahead.
will probably make the mistake many times that they're going to play it out too late, because they will try to get the full value, while full value was playing it on turn 2.
Yeah, where we don't have 2 drops.
So, Citizen Arrest. How high are you on that card, Jason? Like, I'm always a bit skeptical about these kind of things.
I mean, so for one thing, that like it removes the thing from the battlefield, so it doesn't have the problem of like not dealing with abilities. Yeah, or like sacrifice and such. The only thing that punishes you is enchantment removal, which usually isn't main decked. Like probably shouldn't be. Like Citizen's Arrest is like the only thing that's good to hit with enchantment removal in the set, basically. And also I think that the set is likely to have a lot of like the creatures that matter are like big creatures, kind of. Like it's less like, oh, I'm playing a bunch of Organ Hoarders and beating you down with a bunch of replaceable 3/2s, and more like I like have like a big Talarian Terror, or like one or two of those. Maybe that doesn't pan out, but it feels more like you're either going wide with 1/1 tokens or like having a big threat.
Right. But while you're saying that, we have Heroic Charge and Captain's Call on the same row, and Citizen Arrest doesn't really line up against that at all, right?
I mean, sure, it doesn't line up against specifically like the card Captain's Call, but if you look a bit to the right, we also have 2 4/4 Vigilances that you really want to deal with. Yeah.
Right,
so,
but
like,
if your opponent paid 2 or 3 for that, then you're still like even or
well, you're still dealing with the 4/4 in the end, and yes, of course, it's a tragedy that they only paid 2 mana for that.
Yeah, it's a tragedy that the card you're dealing with is a really good card, but like you do need to deal with it.
When you're dealing with the 4/4, you're kind of allowing like yourself to just have like a random Grizzly Bear or whatnot that like is able to deal with the Captain's Call tokens, like by kind of like chumping, or not chumping them, but like taking them down one at a time as they chump attack. Whereas like if you're not dealing with the 4/4, the pressure from those chump attacks is like incredibly exponential. So like getting rid of that big threat just reduces the threat of the tokens.
Yeah, a 4/4 Vigilance and 3/1/1 tokens is a lot more scary. than just 3/1/1 tokens, because like it's hard to both deal with both at the same time.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
can't raise them and will die to them.
Let's move into blue. Who wants to take this one? Incident sorceries. Tolarian Terror, that dot deck. Is that going to be a thing?
Yeah.
What do you folks
I know
think?
some people are very high on it. I was really struggling with the blue archetypes in general when I was doing my skeletons, and I just kind of like deferred to like focusing on the other stuff because I think blue looks really interesting. And for me, I'm not really good at building the spells decks traditionally, just like throughout all the different formats. I know that's like a weak link of mine. So I'm excited to see what people start putting together because it looks really exciting, but I struggled myself.
Yeah, so I wrote the slide. I'm like slightly iffy on blue. Like I think blue red is going to be different than blue other blue archetypes, because blue red you actually have like a couple red creatures that are payoffs for casting a lot of spells, and you can pair that with like the blue spells. Like Timely Interference, for example, is a big one. But like blue by itself, which I was looking at, like I think Terror is very strong. Like Ward 2 is really good text on your 5/5, especially if. But like you can't, unlike Phalanx, you can't really cast it for cheap that early. So you probably want to play like a slightly more controlling plan, like with Essence Scatter and such. and I think in that case, like Shore Up then seems like a really good card to pair with it, because like you're done if you like did put in a bunch of effort to like and played a bunch of like tempo-y cantrip spells maybe with just to play a Tolarian Terror and have that get removed. And like obviously War 2 helps, but like it's probably you probably can't play it early enough that like they like absolutely can't remove it with War 2. It's just more annoying for them. And then Shore Up pairs really well with that because like they play their O-Ring for 3. They paid 2 more mana for it to get past the Ward 2, so they played 5 mana, and then you blow it out with a 1 mana trick. So yeah, I don't know. That's how I'm kind of picturing like a Terror deck might work.
Yeah,
I think the presence of Shore Up in blue is a very important thing for the Terror deck. I totally agree.
I also
It's
really
sort
like
of-
blue-white. I think they're like 2 very good gold cards. Very tempo-y.
Wrath
The one that you
is-
pictured here, and also the white version of the geyser. I really like.
Stalford. Okay.
Yeah, indeed. So then you have like 2 very good tempo cards on 3. You got the
Impede
blue...
Momentum. I wouldn't sleep on that card either.
Yep, agree. And then you have the
I mean,
blue
that card was an
enchantments.
uncommon in Theros Beyond Death, and it was playable in aggressive decks or tempo decks.
I'm like slightly I like Impede Momentum in blue red, where you're like a very tempo, like fairly low, your threats are fairly low to the ground kind of deck. I'm not as sold in like a blue-white deck. Like sure, you can tap down their stuff for a bit, but like I think blue-white goes slightly bigger than blue-red, or like slightly longer.
So I built my archetype much faster, and I built it around the 2/1 vigilance creature.
The
Wait,
one where you cast an instant
Figment?
can be blocked.
Yeah, and
The
I can
Haunted
cast it
Figment.
before attacking, tap something down, and then I have unblockable threats. So basically,
Yep. And
Sure.
the one
basically, and 2 mana allows me to also double cast on turn 4. Let's say I can tap something down, put another stupid 2/1 threat, go in for something, and win the race like that. And then from that time, I can just basically bounce, draw, whatever, something like that.
Yeah. And I think there's also a where's the card? A combat research dot deck with shore ups and like very cheap creatures in white and blue. I think
I'm
it's
like
also
not as sold on combat research because I don't think that effect has generally been that great in limited without like
Unless it has lifelink.
Yeah. But that was that was a dream trawler, so that's a different thing. Yeah, I don't know. Blue will be interesting. There's a lot of like different pieces that you can play in different ways. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's quickly open your blue build. But again, I think we talked about a lot of the cards. Maybe there's something you want to
Oh, one thing I put
highlight
in here
here.
was I put in a salvaged mana worker because timely interference and geyser are two cards that I think like you'd play anyways off color. In a deck that wants to be playing like Tolarian Terrors or like at all cares about instants and sorceries. And it's just like nice to be able to sometimes get that small incidental splash value, like sometimes be able to pay one more for 3 life, sometimes be able to like force your opponent's creature into blocking. So that's why I included the mana worker as a nod to that. But
yeah, do you
I
think
that's-
this is like a C
Like
plus
that.
or something, given how bad the 2-drops are in this set and given the synergy that you just described?
yeah, I do like the mana worker.
Synergy C plus maybe.
Like
No, but I think every deck will have these kind of cards, right? Where you can use this to pay the kicker cost.
But you don't want it in an aggressive shell.
yeah, you certainly don't want it in an aggressive shell.
Yeah.
I think, and there, like, if you're green, there's better ways to fix. But like, I
Also
think
true.
it'll play out.
Are there though?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
I like the Death Touch Elf. I don't know.
I like the. I also like the Death Touch Elf.
3
kind of
mana
in a-
Llanowar elves.
3 mana.
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
I
got a lot
think
of text.
I think that it looks really like it looks like it's pretty sketchy as a card, but like I think it just does enough stuff that like lines up well with the format that I'd like it. But anyways, back to
You
mana
play it
worker.
for 3. You can wrath the bird. You don't need to bolt it.
dice to
Anyways.
smash the blah blah.
So does mana worker. But-
Oh, damn it!
That card is
No.
broken.
Anyways, I think mana worker will play out a bit more like chromatic lantern than people might realize at first. Because like just fixing like 1 mana is like it's not often that you're more than 1 mana off of what you're trying to cast.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I
Like-
put it as a glue piece in domain decks because domain decks might want more types of mana, and sometimes you will not have them, and this will just fix you temporarily or something.
I'm less sold on it in domain decks, like the green decks, like I've said, because like I think in domain decks you already want to have a lot of land types in play, right? So you probably already will have your fixing done well with your lands, and you probably don't need mana worker as much. But like, yeah, I think it's better in like a closer to like 2 or 3 color deck that doesn't have like the green fixing.
It's really a shame that it's not
totally
a
agree.
wall, you know?
That would be nice, you know? I mean, nobody wants to attack with this thing. It would be nice to get some extra synergies in it. And I totally think that, yeah, in the green decks, like you have so many payoffs for basic land types that you don't want to play this card and you don't want to play like the 3 mana that makes 2 1/1s most likely. I don't think you'd want to play like kind of a tangent. But yeah, this card is great in those like decks that are maybe like 3-4 color non-green that want to pay some powerful kickers. I think that's definitely a good spot for it.
Yep. How high are we on Talus Lookout? Because I'm pretty high on that card. I'm not sure if that's a shared opinion.
I think
I
it's
think
like
it's fine.
fine. Yeah.
I've heard other people be higher on it than me, so I would say, yeah, I think like fine, but like I mean, I think it's a good card, for sure. But I feel like it's gonna like, you know, trade up on cards and down on mana a lot.
I just think that it just doesn't exactly do what blue decks that I'm interested in playing wants to be doing. I don't want to have a 4-drop. I want to play a 2-drop and have an Essence Scatter left up or something like that,
Right.
or play a tempo spell and whatnot on turn 4.
But
And-
this is a very aggressive body that says when it dies, draw a card, right?
I
Like
mean,
it
it could
needs
kind
to
of
be
fall
dealt
into-
with.
Yeah,
Like-
no, it's not bad by any stretch of imagination. It's good, and I think that, you know, maybe it's like, but it blocks badly. And 4-drop, I want to block well.
I
Yeah,
think Paul
like-
makes a good point. It feels like Frost Trickster and Strixhaven, where it's like it reads great, but like it's not what the blue decks
I
want to
would
do.
love a Frost Trickster in this format, though.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I
yeah.
would jam like any number here.
Oh
Yeah,
so
Talus
nice.
Lookout, like the problem is that like sometimes your opponent can just take a hit for 3 every turn and then you're sad. Like you don't want to play a 4-mana 3/2 flyer. That's like just vanilla 4-mana 3/2 flyer is like pretty bad. And there's some times where it just is that, where your opponent like doesn't need to deal with it urgently enough for it to be anything else. There's some times where like the way they deal with it is by bouncing it or by exiling it.
Citizens Arrest, for
Citizens Arrest.
example.
Yeah, like there's enough failed cases for it that it's like not enough better than the 4-mana 3/2 flyer that I'm like not actively excited about it. Probably fine-ish.
I'm pretty sure I would be more into it for a 3-mana 2/2 with the same ability.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt.
If they citizen arrest this, that's just fine, right? I'm not sad about that at all.
I mean, I'm kind of sad about
I'm
that.
not like okay. I'm not that sad. I'm not happy. like
Sander, if they citizen arrest it, you're probably dead.
Yeah,
Because you
like,
spent your turn 4 on playing 3/2 and you're dead because
they're killing that and playing a 2-drop probably, or a combat trick. Like, it's not good.
It's not great, but so my base assumption is that I'm the beatdown. So people playing citizen arrest against me is mostly not a signal that I'm dead. But
so I think that in this format, if you want to be the beatdown and play blue, then you don't want to be playing Talos Lookout.
Yeah,
I think this is your top end. I think you run like 2 of these, and that's like the end of your curve.
The terror
I
would
don't
be the top end.
Not in blue-white. In blue-white, terror is not a card.
Okay, I'm thinking of
I think in blue-white terror can be a card.
I think it very well might be. You play like bunch of
Captain's
bounce
Call
spells
is an
and bunch of.
a sorcery.
Interesting.
Yeah,
All right.
I think we are on the same page, Jason, in this particular case.
Blue-white terror gets even better because you get Take Up the Shield.
And Captain's Call.
What a swing! My God, they tried to destroy it, and you play Take Up
this
Snake
synergy
with the shield.
Woo!
Alrighty.
Hand me.
Back. Black.
I made this slide just to have something here. I don't have very many opinions on black.
No,
I just think
totally agree.
I don't know.
Phyrexian
It's
Ranger,
like-
the color.
Phyrexian Rager broken. Extinguish the light. Good.
Okay, hot take. Phyrexian Rager is probably going to be overrated, and I think you guys are probably overrating it. I think it's a lot worse than Priest of Ancient Lore. Losing a life is a lot worse than gaining a life. It's going to be fine. It's going to be good. It's not going to be like busted, I think.
Is it a B? Is it like a pull into black?
I don't use.
Is it a pull
letter
into
grade.
black? Would you
He doesn't
like?
use alphabet, you know that.
It is a B in the sense that it's black, and B stands for black.
Fair enough. I'll take that one. Red. Ooh, smash to dust.
I think that looping, like, it's a great card to get back with Urborg Repossession, though. So, like, I'm really excited for it in like the grindy green decks that like want to go long. That's where I think Ranger's going to shine.
One thing I should mention is like I guess it was on the other side. I do think black pairs like by far the best with white because like even like Rager also contributes to the go wide synergy. And like white also like the sleeper is like a good 2-drop in white that like gets even better when you can kick it for black. Like
For sure.
it just feels to me like black white is the best color pair for black.
I feel like black white has the best like rated signpost uncommons too, like 3/3 for 2 and stuff like that. Like it feels like it can really put some pressure on an opponent.
It's missionary is the solution to your Rager. That's.
Okay. Did somebody add smash to dust here after?
Wait, are we?
started?
Wait a second. Are we? This is the end of our talk about black, really? We're
Yes,
gonna
it
talk
is.
about-
Wait, no, Sierkovitz, go on.
We're
Tell
not
us about all the
gonna
black
talk
cards.
why
If you have the-
Splatter Goblin is the best
Yeah, I
black
mean,
common.
Sanders saw the smash to dust and just wanted to skip ahead, but we can talk.
Yes.
about
I
it.
mean, I'm making
What is
it
the best black
half
common?
jokingly. I'm making it half jokingly, but I tell you, Splatter Goblin, one of the better black commons.
Yes. Oh, totally agree. I mean,
It trades with
we're short
2/3
on
of a
2-drops.
captain call.
It trades up with like a lot of pill giants. Like it works with the sack synergies. It makes
It's a 2/1
the
unblockable
Mesa
creature.
Cavalier. Yeah, Mesa Cavalier becomes completely unplayable because this card exists. Like everything is great.
Wait. Mesa Cavalier is not playable because this card
Oh,
exists.
I know, but I think that people will be too high on Mesa Cavalier. And
sorry, Mesa Cavalier. Not the, that's
Not
that's the 2/1
Argivian Cavalier. No.
Okay, sorry,
not
never
Argivian.
mind. Okay, I
Okay,
agree.
yeah.
Mesa Cavalier is
Okay.
unplayable.
Okay, cool.
Although,
Yeah,
when
I
you
was
think
a bit of a
about
hot
it,
take, but I
Jason-
think that card's going to be wildly overrated. I do not ever want to play that thing.
Although, Jason, when you think about it, look at how this 2-drop neatly takes care of Argivian Cavalier.
Wow.
They block with their 1/1.
No,
Wait,
you
wait,
blocked
no,
their 2/2. You
Yeah.
blocked their
Well,
2/2 with your 2/1.
They're
And
just
kill
not
the
gonna
1/1.
attack into. They're just not going to
What?
attack into
Oh,
each
oh.
other.
I prefer
well,
them
then
not
you
to be
win.
half full.
Or they
That's the
attack
whole
in-
point.
They attack
But
into
that's
your
the whole
goblin,
point
and
of
they
this
play
card.
Take up the shield.
I don't think that Splatter Goblin, because black is not particularly aggressive, even though it has the Toxic Abomination. I think it's like a very good defensive card because it will stop all those weenie decks from attacking you very early, quite efficiently.
Mhm.
You might take one hit, and then when they have 2 creatures on board, they will have to really think hard how to
Oh,
attack without.
it's-
Okay. Really,
can
what this
clean-
does, Splatter Goblin makes the 1/3 Vigilance Enlister better than the 3/1.
Wait, I was just thinking that it does cleanly answer the 1/3 Enlister. So if that card does end up being important, like this will be another important card for the black decks as well.
I mean, kind of cleanly. Like you're trading your 2-drops. It's like not
right.
a good or bad
Yeah,
trade.
fine.
But if the 1/3 ends up being like the, if the Enlist deck drops that 1/3 on turn 2 and you're just like, oh no, I'm in trouble, like if it's like that, like Hobgoblin, Captain,
I
and
don't-
AFR.
I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be
Okay.
more like the 1/3 is like just like a 2-drop that you play that's fine. That like
Yeah.
has enough
Okay.
relevance in the late game to be fine.
Makes
It's not
the
like
goblin
the
go better.
linchpin of your strategy.
Due to
Okay,
the
I
lack
see.
of 2s, the 1/3 Vigilance will most likely be playable. But,
And
yeah.
I was viewing it as unplayable, but I was hearing a lot of good talk about it today, and so I'm like coming way up on it myself.
I think Splatter Goblin is likely going to be fine. It's going to be a fine 2-drop. It's like I don't know. I think it's like not that exciting, but it's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, but look through the black spoiler and then find me an exciting comment there.
Well,
fair.
that's why we were ready to cut after 30 seconds, but you wanted to keep talking about Splatter Goblin.
You wanted to stick here. It
You
is.
wanted
Urborg
this.
Repossession. The other
Yeah.
one I like is Urborg Repossession.
Urborg Repossession looks great.
and
You know,
Very
I-
good card.
I don't want to fall into a trap of us ignoring a color that will turn up to be good, and then we're going to look like buffoons. So let's
That's
talk a
fair.
bit more about it, and
Yeah,
then we
let's
say,
talk
well,
about
we
Urborg
were
Repossession.
discussing it at least.
I think black will be a good support color. I think black has some like a
Good
small number
removal.
of like it has some good removal. It has a small number of commons that like fit very well into certain archetypes, like Phyrexian Warhorse, whatever it is, the one with white kicker and black white, or Urborg Repossession in black green. Like it has some solid role players for certain archetypes. It just doesn't have a cohesive strategy by itself. Gibbering Barricade for like defenders maybe, or just like
red,
go wide
black.
as a like
Black,
Yeah, no, I
white.
agree with that take. It's just like
I think that the 3/1 is kind of interesting because it plays really well with a lot of different things as well. Because like you've got the self mill, and you can like pitch to the looter, and it has that value when it's just in the graveyard. And so I don't know.
5 mana is a
think
lot.
That it's
This
true.
is a
but
Maestro's
it's-
Initiate.
Yeah, I know, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like I think in this
That
Kill
card
Giant
was
format,
super
Maestro
playable, by the way.
Initiate- Yeah,
Was
I
it?
think
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
I
it was
think- I
super
think
playable.
I don't like this card, but I think that I will play it more than I would expect in this. I don't know. I think it lines up decently in the format with all the Hill Giants. And just my thought.
It is
Um,
not good against 1/1s, to be fair.
That-
But
It
Oh,
dies
yeah.
against Smash 2. What was it called again?
yeah, smash it up.
you
Okay,
can
well,
enlist it.
yeah, I
You
mean-
can enlist it in your green black deck with one random enlist
Okay,
creature.
one of my problems with Soul Tender with its body is that
Mhm.
I feel like a 3-mana 3/1 is like just at the wrong spot where like 3 mana is a lot of mana to pay for a card that like dies to a 1/1, and it also doesn't trade up that much. Like it trades with a hill, it trades up a bit against the Hill Giant, but doesn't trade up against the like truly big things. And
Yeah.
like if it were 2 mana at least, that then it would be pretty good with trading up with like 4 mana 3/3s. But like there's just not enough upside for its fragility.
But when you think that
why I
maybe
don't
brings you
love
a
it.
turn or two closer to playing Tolarian Terror or Necromass.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Necromaster that much in the first
No,
place.
I like it much less. But I'm just like giving an example here.
Yeah, I don't even know.
like,
Is Necromaster a giant creature?
It's pretty good.
It's the 5/5
I like
Death Toucher.
it.
It's
Where is it?
Probably at the bottom because it costs 7. Maybe not.
Oh,
then.
this is alphabetic, right?
Oh, okay.
Ah, here, ridding. It's called ridding.
It still starts with a
Necromancer.
W.
Okay,
Yes.
it's at the bottom because it starts with a W.
Writhing
It's a
Necromaster,
5/5.
It's
Death
a feral
Touch.
abomination from the previous Dominaria set.
Ooh, all right.
Do
I-
you
I'm
remember
yet to
this
see.
like this 5/5 for 7 in black that costs 1 less for artifacts? I think it was Kaladesh, right? That was a playable
Yes,
card in red
Van
black.
Hauler. But
Van
there was
Hauler.
tons of artifact synergies there.
Yeah.
There is a reasonable amount of graveyard
Also-
synergies here.
Oh, also,
Well, I mean,
also
there's
that
also-
5/5 that 5/5 said it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. It like had evasion. It didn't have death
Wait, I
touch.
thought
it
It
had
had
menace.
evasion. Or maybe menace. I don't know. So it
Yeah,
has some
but, okay, yeah,
evasive.
it did have a text line. Yeah.
Yes, this
As
also has a
opposed to
death
not
line
having
though.
it.
Death touch.
Yeah.
The Death Touch on the 5/5 has its pluses.
Exactly.
I mean, they need to block it with like 2 3/3s and they both will die.
Mhm.
Correct.
It's like a bit of text, a very small
Yeah.
amount of text.
It's like 10 letters or something.
Anyways, I just don't think like I'm going to need to turbo mill myself to turn on my terrors.
I don't say you need it. I'm just saying you're getting it from that card.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
Makes it
it's
ever so
like
slightly
defensively a 3/1 is better than offensively.
I agree. Yeah.
And I guess
agree
in
with
black
that.
you want to play defense more than offense.
Toxic Abomination says otherwise, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what that card is like. What's the plan for that card?
Hey, it's a crooked custodian.
Exactly. That instead of entering tapped, you lose 2 life.
So
That's,
roughly the same.
That's
And on turn
reasonable.
2 at least.
Alrighty. Let's move finally to
To
Smash
Smash
to
to
Dust
Dust,
the
yes.
color. Why is this here?
Oh, I mean that's your card, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it added after the
I'm
fact?
sure.
That's
I'm
a
sure
good
that
joke.
it was Jason editing the presentation. while we
I
were
did
talking
not
already.
add it. It was not me.
I
I
didn't.
think it's Tajoordan.
I didn't do that either. So Benji,
Oh,
is it you?
yeah. Well, I thought it was an important card to highlight because
It
we talked
is.
so much
Oh,
about
it is
it.
Benji.
And
Okay.
There's a lot of negative space on this slide, and I just thought, we could use some, a little comedic interlude here with the Smash to Dust. But
Sure.
it does kill the 1/3. It also kills the axe. So it kills most of our invitational cards. It kills Sierkovitz's 3/1. So,
Yep.
But I do like red. I think that it's got a couple solid commons. It's got Lightning Strike, obviously. It has the Goblin Picker, which does like rummaging. It's also a bear in a format where like the 2-drops at common are kind of hard to come by. And so I'm excited for that. I think that in the red-white decks, the Keldon, the 3/1 that makes 2/1/1 hastes, I think that card provides a ton of power and a ton of aggression. And I kind of missed that when I was reading the spoilers at first. And then I saw that card and I was like, whoa, this is kind of exciting to me, especially just making more bodies if you're in the red-white deck, along with the 1/1s. They kind of scale well. They're hard to block from Captain's Call, I believe it's called. And so I'm excited for that. There is removal, so I see like potentially control support, but I hadn't really thought of it too much there, primarily supporting like blue spells or like white aggressive stuff. So if anyone wants to talk about control support, please do.
I
No,
mean,
not-
like
not
there's
me.
just like a couple good cheap removal spells, I guess. I don't think I think red is a lot better as a aggressive deck though. Like I think you could go bigger with like there's the Flowstone Kavu, this 2/3 menace for 3 that like can give itself +1 -1. That's a card that kind of goes a bit bigger in the sense that like it's a bit slower but like more evasive, deals a bit more damage. Or the 3/4 trampling enlist creature for 4 that it's a 4-drop, so it's like a bit weird to play it aggressively, but like I think it is pretty powerful. Another thing I was interested in your take on, Benji, is Hammerhand, because I was looking at that card pretty in depth last night, and like my problem with Hammerhand is that it feels like you kind of want to play it on 2-drops, but the 2-drops, but like it doesn't feel like the 2-drops are impactful. Like if you look at the 2-drops in red, putting Hammer Hand on them doesn't do that much, I think.
Maybe you want to play it on your Flowstone Kavu.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Kavu
good.
Kavu
That's
was
good.
the one target at 3 that I liked. But like obviously it's not going to be good on the
I mean,
on-
Amonkhet usually played it like turn 5 or something for the Alpha Strike for the last attack.
I liked it
To
on
clear
like,
the path, basically.
the green-red uncommons that are hill giants. I thought the idea of like on turn 5, if you're in like a green-red, like I was trying a lot to like mess around with Brule because I think it's not going to be good. So I just like think it's a fun puzzle. And like looking at those, I was like maybe like playing the Hammer Hand on like some of those like green-red hill giants makes them, you know, stat lined a little better, and getting the swing in right away. You're definitely getting the ability, and I think that kind of like in Amonkhet, I think it was Pawel was saying where it's like for the Alpha Strike a little later on. And one thing I hadn't thought about is if you want to play it on like your bigger creature and still get some value, if you have an enlist creature, you can use the Hammer Hand to make something not block and then get your enlist value by throwing it on like the bigger creature that you're not attacking with this turn. But then it would have haste, so you'd probably just attack with this turn. So I kind of talked myself out of that. But yeah,
So,
I don't know.
okay. A couple things I'm worried about for Hammer Hand. First of all, sure, the it is like quite literally Cartouche of Zeal. Right.
Well,
but,
there
like,
is a huge difference, right?
except it doesn't trigger trials. It doesn't trigger
Exactly,
trials.
and that was the whole concept of cartouches.
And
at least-
also, I think Amonkhet is likely to be a format that was more conducive to swinging out on turn 5 because of exert.
Significantly, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally agree.
And okay, another thing I'm worried about is there's a couple creatures in red that seem like some of the better aggressive creatures with like Gitu Amplifier and the 2-mana uncommon thing with trample that grows when you
They would prefer spells. Yeah.
Yeah. Those don't trigger on Hammer Hand because they say instant or sorcery and not non-creature. So I'm worried that like you won't have space for Hammer Hand.
I could see
I think
it
that you
being
will have,
terrible.
you know.
But I'm going to play a bunch of them and try them out at least. But
I
yeah,
think it's
I could see
definitely
a card
interesting.
yeah.
I'm just a bit not sold on like how much better than an Active Treason it'll be. Like the only thing it has over our Active Treason really is being cheaper.
Yeah, and there's not that many like I don't think there's any red 1-drops. Like the only real 1-drop I think of for like aggressive decks is like that black uncommon.
Phoenix
that's a 2/1 or
check.
something.
Phoenix, there's the
Oh,
Phoenix.
true. Yeah, there is the Phoenix. Okay.
Phoenix
at
is
uncommon.
reasonable. Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be tough to put together an aggressive deck, I think, and that's what kind of cools me off on the Hammer Hand is that I feel like it's gonna be tough to get 20 damage through before they set up their defenses after like
I mean,
cards.
Don't you see a situation when you play the Captain's Call on turn 4 and turn 5 you just play Hammer Hand on any of your creatures that you have on board and a +2/+1 and Alpha Strike?
Yeah, and I think that's definitely where it'll be best, no doubt.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not a big fan.
I think that in tempo decks when you're racing and when you will be in a situation when you are in that kind of race, 1-mana spell that can negate 1 block and make you push through X damage is going to be sometimes useful. Obviously, you're right. It's not going to be like the star of the deck with electrostatic infantry or with the multicolor thing from blue red, but there will be some other decks when it actually will not matter that much because there are not so many payoffs for instant and sorceries when you look at that. So yeah, I'm not saying this is the best card in the format. I think that there's going to be plenty of homes for that, and I think that as we're going to draft this format, we're going to find that it's not one of those when you have fixed solutions for everything. And some drafts it will be just like, oh, amazing. This is the card that I exactly needed for my deck. And then some it will be just like, oh, I'm passing it because it won't do anything in my deck, even though there will be similar decks with similar game plans.
Yeah.
These 2 cards are also fairly similar, right?
I mean, Flowstone Infusion is a card that can go face, and the other one doesn't.
There is an argument
Lash of
for
Malice.
Infusion being better than Magma Strike, right?
Oh yeah, I mean
Infusion's
it's Lash of Malice.
Yeah, Lash of Battles and Strixhaven. Like that was just a good card. It's like likely going to be a good card. It's definitely not better than Lightning Strike because Lightning Strike is kind of busted, but like it's a good card.
It's a great card, yeah. I mean, also
I think it could be underrated early. Definitely, I think that could be a card that's going too late.
The blue-red Signpost Uncommon again, a 1/3, a perfect recipient of +2, +3 -2 in that particular case.
Yeah.
And again, in one of those last ditch attacks when you want to go for like last few points of damage.
Another thing of note, or go ahead.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was just gonna say another thing of note with it being like an instant and like with the red uncommon that pumps on instant sorcery stuff like that. When you put this on the stack, you'll get the trigger from the thing. So like if it's the second spell you cast for whatever reason, and you've got your 1/2 that pumps on instant sorceries, like it'll become a 2/3 and then a 4/1. And so just a little nuance there, but pretty relevant.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
One thing I do want to mention for red, which is probably too janky to actually be good, but one thing. So there's the red like big thing that costs less. Based on something, right? It's based on power. We talked about like
how it works with enlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if you have a G2 amplifier, the 1/2 that gets +2/+0 when you cast an instant sorcery, and you cast the +3/+0 first strike check on it, then it becomes I believe that becomes 6 power. So you can play that trick and monstrosity on turn 4.
Yeah. So you're talking about Furious Bellow.
Yeah,
you're
Furious
talking
Bellow.
about
which is a strictly better Sure Strike, isn't it?
Furious Bellow, yes, it's a strictly better Sure Strike. It's Strides 1. Yeah.
Which can be also something that you will put in your decks. I don't think that always,
but
I think that sometimes.
Like, I think Bellow is great with like Amplifier, Flowstone Kavu, things that your opponent like really wants to block. Or like gets value from your opponent blocking.
With Flowstone Kavu, that's just going to be ouch.
If you end up in like a red-white deck without lightning strikes and stuff like that, it's another good way to just allow yourself to just swing out and just use it like a lightning strike.
Yeah, I think it's like probably like I don't think adding Scry 1 makes it like into the good territory. It's probably still like an okay combat trick, but like it certainly will play. Like it will be a good role player in decks that want it.
Yep.
Yeah. The janky part is playing Monstrosity with it. I think Monstrosity is probably just too bad. It like requires too many things to go right to work.
I mean,
there's Enlist, there's Domain, the one green combat trick. There's what you just described. There are a lot of ways of second maining this for like 3 mana, right?
Your creature has to survive the combat.
If people will be like routinely chump blocking your 1/3 vigilance Enlist creature, and it's going to be like a 5/3 or something.
Why don't you just you could play a 4/4 like reach for green for 4 mana and then just play this thing on turn 5 too or something like
I don't want to play a 5/5 on turn 5 that still costs 4 mana. Like the difference
with
between
trample
this and the white one, right? The difference between this one and the white one, 4/4 vigilance is like comparable body to 5/5 trample. And like the difference is that this one, if something goes wrong, it's very easy for this to get like unplayably expensive.
Yeah.
I think it's
white.
terrible.
Yeah. Like they just kill your one big creature and you can't play this anymore. The white one, like they have to like kill all of your creatures, and it's still only.
I think that the monstrosity will be playable in Gruul, and I think that Gruul will play sort of like everything from my 2 drops to my 8 drops is chunky, because my 2 drops are Rootwallas, and then my 4 drops are 4/4 reach, and then my 8 drop is maybe a 2 drop if I pump my Rootwalla +3/+3 or something.
Alrighty. Okay, enough on red, I think. Were you guys aware that this was a thing? It's one of my favorite.
Whoa, no.
Yeah, it's the when you join.
They've done things like this before. I heard like for like what is it? There's some like maybe the Lord of the Rings like universe.
That's gonna be like 18 card kind of thing that you can put in your binder.
That's a cool one. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
But it was before. There was a couple of spells that also like joined the 3 picture. Something
Alrighty.
from Odyssey, I think, or that era.
Green.
Did you add a red skeleton that
Yeah,
added
it was
anything
like
to?
nothing. Like it just was like the cards we
Oh, you
talked
have the
about.
Bellow. Okay.
Yeah,
Basically.
Coalition Warbrute, the skeleton. I like it
Confirmed
already.
busted.
Confirm
Yeah.
busted.
Oh, 2 Kabus. Love to see it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Kavu with hammer hand.
Kafu,
Ooh.
Hammerhand. You have a Maya Steel Crusher. Because
Because it destroys the
obviously.
1/3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like in a more blue-red facing build of this deck, you would like in a more blue-red facing build of red, you would want the like amplifier probably in like more copies of the amplifier, fewer copies of Hammerhand, but like
Yeah, I had a lot of red skeletons where I had like 1 Steel Crusher and one of the 2/2 goblins that have like red tap loot.
oh, I don't like the
Mhm.
picker that much. It's like a slow card in an aggressive deck. I don't know.
Like red cards, the 2-drops are so bad that a 2-mana 2/2 that loots, like I'm
I'll
not
take
even
it.
against it. Yeah.
It plays on
I-
curve
I'm
and
also-
it has like value late game. Like
Yeah, It
Yeah.
helps you out late. I like it.
Steel Crusher also has value. I think Steel Crusher is just a
Yeah.
lot better than that one.
Yeah, I think
And like
they're
obviously,
both
if you're blue-red, like the amplifier is just a lot better. But
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Alrighty. Moving on to green, last color. We already touched on a lot of points. I think the skeletons will go pretty quick after this.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about this a lot with Domain.
oh, I want to talk about Gardener. I think so.
Oh yeah, my boy.
My view of this format, like, so I think green will want to ramp from 3 to 5 a lot. And like you see this a lot. Like this was true in HPG as well. Like ramping 3 to 5 was more important than ramping 2 to 4. Like
Because it
specifically
had Owl there,
Elfheimworm,
but what does it have here on 5?
Elfheimworm,
Yeah.
and Scout the Wilderness.
Decent.
Scout the Wilderness is another big one.
Wow,
I think like
that is
you'll
a
want to
spine worm.
kick Scout the Wilderness on turn 5 quite a lot. Like just it like helps you, like it ramps your mana even more, and I think green does want to go even bigger than like 5 mana, or it's even bigger than 6 mana. And also like it's a budget cap, or well, slightly more expensive captain's call that makes fewer tokens but comes with a land. And is a bit more flexible with kicker. The 1/1s help like chump. So or like trade with your opponent's 1/1s. So I think like ramping 3 to 5 will be important because of Elfheimworm Scout the Wilderness at common. I just like Elfheimworm a lot as like it's just a big body. It like a 5/4 is like hard to deal with. It doesn't die the lightning strike. It blocks most things. It attacks pretty well. Like Vigilance, Trample. It just attacks and it blocks. Attack and protect. It does everything.
I'm just having hard time like thinking what I will ramp into. I mean, double spelling, I guess, because
You just
like
play-
almost literally.
Like you just play good cards. Like you play like I don't know, Stall for Time, or like okay. You should probably look at my Bant build instead of this.
Right.
Oh, time for the great
This is
unveil.
like the base.
This is what it's all about. If you build this deck
Finally.
on day 1, you trophy.
Yeah, so this is like a green white like splashing blue. Like you just have some top end with like Tajoordan and Elfheimworm. You have Wrath as a mana sink, Vine Shaper Prodigies to like you can double spell with and like keep things.
What is
turning.
Charismatic Vanguard doing there?
It's just like another thing that lets you like I have like 2 captain's calls. It's just like another mana sink. It's Archetype Skeleton is not gonna have like all the busted cards, right? It's gonna have some cards that are just fine-ish. Stall for Time lets you stall for time.
Obviously.
Yeah. Like, this deck I really like Tajoordan's the 5 mana 4/4. Like you're gonna have multiple land types on the battlefield. And with like a bunch of go wide, it's really strong with just pumping your 1/1s. Yeah, like I think you're not ramping to like okay, like obviously there's the 7/7 for 7 at uncommon and green, like ETB gaining 5 life. That
Okay,
card
yeah,
that card's really
fair.
good. Right. But like other than that, like there's a lot of value with kicker that you can do in the set. Like Vine Shaper Prodigy, Stall for Time, I don't know, Rona's Vortex or something. Like just cards that like get better if you can like kick them because you have mana fixing and like they can help chain into more things. A bunch of the uncommon legends are really powerful. Just like fixing can be kind of its own payoff in the set, I think.
That's true. I mean, I guess that makes sense if you play like a deck that wants to build Domain 5, then you might be actually ramping to be able to cast the spells that cost less, but you didn't have the right mana yet due to your hatred towards the mana workers. Oh no, you have it actually.
I have a mana worker. Yeah. And I have a mana worker. I have 2 Vine Walls. Like you can cast the good stuff early as well. It's just like there's a lot of the green, a lot of the like kicker stuff comes with value that like lets you chain into more stuff. Like you can play like the divination also in blue.
Yeah, I think that this is what I see a problem in this deck, because it's like sort of like it will ramp, and then it will have 2 payoffs, and once the opponent deals with them, it might be like that's it basically.
I mean,
because there's no card draw.
Yes, it has card draw. It has 2 stall. Sorry, it has 2 Vine Shaper Prodigies. It has a Stall for Time. It has Wrath as a mana sink. Vanguard's a mana sink. Tajoordan helps with flooding. Like I don't know. It has card draw.
Fine wall.
Yeah, but I mean, it sort of reminds me of the Zendikar Rising kicker deck, and as I remember it, like field research was just super important card in there, because otherwise you just stabilized and basically stalled without the card.
Oh yeah, maybe this deck might want like a copy or 2 of the blue divination. I just like I threw this together.
No. I mean, like, I'm just thinking loud how it would work, because
Wrath is
what can be the potential problems? Them?
The blue-white Wrath. It like
okay, that's a good reproducible card draw, but you also only have like 5 spells that will trigger it.
Yeah. It's probably like again, it's like probably not built completely correctly, but like there's I just think you will find
that
ways
this deck
to
would actually play the artillery, no?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think there's just ways to use your mana, and I'd like the 3 mana 1/1 Death Touch, because it helps with the problem of like, oh, you've run out of gas, because it like is relevant in the late game trading with the big thing. And I think this format will be about like either going wide or big things, and it helps against the big things. And like Scout the Wilderness helps against going wide. Death Wound Gardener, yeah. And yeah, I just like that it ramps from 3 to 5. I like that there's like not that much X1 hate in the format. I like that. Oh, another thing I like about it is that the 2 drops are not very good. So you don't need to worry about trading with their 2 drops as much in the set. Like if you think about like Underdark Basilisk in like HPG or AFR, like your opponent plays Hobgoblin Captain on turn 2, and you're like, wow, this is terrible. I like by Underdark Basilisk, maybe it'll trade for it, but maybe it can't even trade for it, right? Like, and like you just weren't allowed to save your Basilisk for trading with big things, or and also there weren't as many big things. But I think that's a problem that you're going to run into less this set, because the 2s are worse.
Yeah, but that's why Shagavan was such an important card for any slower deck in AFR or in Baldur's Gate. That basically, without the Ghasts, you were just losing to Hobgoblin Captain into Hobgoblin Captain openings.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
It is an interesting deck, definitely. But I wouldn't trophy with it. I know that you will, but I wouldn't trophy with it, probably.
Next up on the agenda are the actual skeletons. Exactly. So, so I was the one, I think, who put most of the screenshots on the slide, but that doesn't mean that we should dive into my skeletons. Rather not even. I would like to learn from yours. So just like shout out if you feel like you like nailed a color pair, or you have like a interesting take on it, and then we'll dive into your skeleton. All right?
Oh, before we get started, I want to answer Zoiks in chat. They say
Yeah, go.
the set seems less complex to them than some others this year. How are we feeling about it? I think personally, the cards look less complex, but I think one thing I really like about it, or that looks really good to me, and I think Benji, you talked about this earlier as well, is it looks very modular, very much like Ikoria, very pockets of synergy that lets you build it in build decks in very many different ways that probably will lead to more complexity in that sense, even if the cards themselves are not mutate is this horrible mess of rules rules complexity, for example. But yeah, I think Ikoria might be a good comparison, but with less words on the cards, maybe.
Yeah. So to
I think that
I think
for
it's
me
going to be very complex. But
for me, there's two types of sets, and it's symphony and jazz. And symphony sets, they are more very power oriented. But when you listen to classical music, if you never heard the piece, it sort of makes sense what happens next. And jazz is when you listen to it, you just don't know what's going to happen next. And I think that drafting, this will be sort of more jazz, because your first pick will completely change your pick orders very often. While in normal sets, the classical music sets, I call them, your pick orders stay relatively close to themselves in every draft. So that's a big difference. Now, of course, you can draft from...
Oh, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
You can draft from blueprints here, but I mean, I just think it's not going to be very successful if you try to do that. You're gaining more by being more adaptive to what you picked.
And there's definitely merits to both. There's I think it's just complexity in different places. I personally think I'll like this type of set, or at least what I hope this set will be, more than the alternative. But yeah,
I mean that's why I like Ikoria, because that's exactly what it was. It was just more interesting in the draft part, and maybe less challenging in the gameplay part in some places. Sort of putting emphasis on slightly different abilities in drafting.
Yeah, I totally like the pocket of synergy, and where different decks are different. So I think I'm gonna like that a lot. I think it's gonna be super complex, but I don't know. I feel Alchemy Baldur's Gate was not complex at all. Sure, the cards had a lot of words on them, but in reality, it was you just kind of played your cards and did the thing, and you won or lost. I felt a lot of the time. So, I mean, I think that probably speaks to kind of what Jason was saying, where the complexity is just in different areas in the symphony versus jazz comparison that Pawel was mentioning.
Yeah, it's sort of the drafting on rails versus off-road.
Totally agree. And I'm always here to off-road.
Okay, shall we do Archetype Skeletons?
Yes, let's go.
Nah,
boring.
Yeah, I'm good on those.
Yeah, that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk all about Smash to Dust.
Exactly.
First of all, why GW, not WG? That's it has to be in the Wooburg order.
Right, but everybody calls this green-white, right?
I call it Celestia now, even though I hate it.
Do people say white-green?
So here's my argument for GW instead of WG. If you do things in Wooburg order for the it goes white blue, blue black, black red, red green, green white. Right? It wraps back around.
Oh, okay.
That's my argument.
Good point. Good point. We're adding value to society here.
No, I just in 17 lands it's WG, so I started writing WG because otherwise I would have problem with consistency between data sets.
Makes total sense. So I built this deck such that it leverages domain a little bit. Do you want to dive into that, or any other suggestions?
See the random. I feel like that's an ambitious number of tap lands there, in terms of how many you'll realistically get in the draft. But I don't know. Maybe people will be too low on them.
Yes, that's my assumption, and I'm also just picking everyone that touches on the green and white. Basically, is my thought.
I built a very weird white-green deck myself. I actually cheated on the rules, and I played 4 of the same 1-drop green 1/1 common, because I was like, what happens if you just get tons of this like green-white card and like Captain's Call and stuff like that, and like the anthems. So like I don't know. I thought like
Remind
it
me,
probably still won't be good. But
is that card +1/+1 or it's
no,
+1/+0?
it's +1/+0. So I think it's just going to be terrible. But it's a card
Okay.
that I want to experiment with this card, even though I think
It's a
gonna be
great
awful.
enlister.
It seems like totally out of place with what Green's trying to do. So like maybe
Yeah.
it's there for a reason or something. Like I don't know. Like I feel like the set design team like put that card there for a reason, and I don't know why. But this is going to be my first attempt of like maybe it works here.
And now
so
like
talk
set
us
design
through.
team is like high-fiving each other all around because their only goal was to confuse Benji.
Exactly.
Make it so that it's harder for the format to be solved.
Yeah.
You know, they're going back to just putting bad cards in sets. You know, we need a mountain goat again.
So talk us through
I
this. Like, what are the reasons for then adding other cards, Benji?
So pretty much the idea is that if the format is going to be like slow and kicker oriented, as I think it's going to be, this just like really puts on all the pressure immediately. And you've got, I think, like one of the uncommon like instant speed ones as a trick. But the idea is that you want to be building the battlefield while also getting like the triggers. And that if you're attacking with like two of those like 1/1s and like a 3-drop that's just kind of aggressively statted, and you have cast like the Captain's Call that turn, like they might almost be forced to have to make like suboptimal trades. However, at the same time, if somebody plays like the 3-mana 2/2 and 1/1, like you just lose on the spot to it. So I don't think this deck is going to be good, but this was just like a super interesting concept that like I just saw that card and I was like, if I can make this card work, like what would I want to do? And like Captain's Call was the card that like kind of stuck out to me, but not too sure. And I just thought it was interesting because it's definitely the only deck that I ever put this 1/1 card in. I think it's bad. And I just wanted to kind of like start the conversation on that a little bit and see if anyone thought there was any possibility of this card being playable.
Yeah, Stalker looks like a bit interesting to me because it looks like Wildwood Tracker from Eldraine. And that card was like actually really good in like the green aggressive decks. But the difference between +1/+0 and +1/+1, I think, is really big. I think it's
Huge.
like it's the difference between like attacking with a 3/3 on turn 4 and making it like awkward for them to like block.
I mean, the
and,
difference
like,
is
trade with
difference
your
is
1/1.
unimportant.
And, like,
You're using it to enlist anyway.
I mean, like, I don't buy that argument. I don't think like if you use it to enlist, they just block your enlist creature. Like
Okay,
your
well,
enlist
you-
creature's
you-
not getting
you-
toughness either.
You open with the curve like Stalker, turn 2, 1/3 enlister, turn 3.
You attack with a
Cavalier.
2/2. Yeah, you attack with a 2/1. Turn 3. Yeah, you Cavalier.
Yeah, I
So
don't
then you
know.
attack with a 4/3
4/3.
Vigilance, right?
I'm
Yeah.
And you have a
Oh,
4
it's
creature board, and
different,
they can't do much about it.
I'm not sold. Like they just like they can block the 4/3 with their 3/1, and like I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not
but-
sold on going so all in. Basically,
No, my
Okay, no,
problem
but I mean
with these type of
that's a different discussion because you never will be that. I mean, I know your drafting style. You're never the kind of a person that will go all in on strategies because that's your personality, whole game philosophy, and everything. But I mean, there are
Right.
decks where you go all
Oh.
in. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, one card I think that might actually make this deck a lot better. I'm surprised you don't have any take up the shields.
Yeah, no, I mean that card is like
Is that
super
the
important.
+2/+1? I don't even know what take up to, or is that the
It's
the
the
+1/+1 lifelink
counter-
and
Yeah,
indestructible.
that should
Yeah.
totally be in here. Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely built this
defeat
on
of
a whim.
resistance.
Yeah,
I also
no,
missed the 4/4 vigilance creature there.
yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
also
we
pretty
should,
good.
We should
in
have
here.
a
I
4/4
see-
vigilance creature.
I see
This
too
was-
many
yeah.
4-drops. Too
Yeah,
many
I
4-drops by one
Totally
at
agree
least.
with that. Yep. No, I think you're spot on. There's like 8 4-drops. This because the Captain's Call.
No,
is
the
four as
4-drop,
well.
the 4-drop creature. There's one, and it's way too much.
Yeah, he was making a joke about. It's gone now. It's gone.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, totally. I'm. Oh, there we go. Look at how much better that looks already.
Yeah, I don't know. Take up the shield does make this a lot more interesting because it means that your stalker like doesn't just trade. I mean, like it still kind of trades down in the sense that you trade your take up the shield for their like
And
2/2 or something.
enlist the
but-
Cavalier.
Right, and Stalker also wants me to play creatures in main phase 1, and Take Up the Shield wants me to play creatures in main phase 2, which is also a little
Yeah.
bit awkward.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what I dislike about Stalker is it's one of those cards that when you lose the die roll, you
It's
basically lost the game. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that
No.
kind of stuff I hate. I hate losing by the die roll. And
Right.
Stalker is
losing
definitely
point.
doing that. Yeah, but die roll losses are like the worst. You have so many of those in Amonkhet, which is I had a rough
I
week.
didn't play any of the Amonkhet. I was like, I'm
Me
good
neither.
on that. Yeah, no thanks.
I had a
Yeah.
rough week.
Well, that's probably enough on this little sub archetype.
I was just jamming HBG still.
Okay, yeah.
I was playing
You also-
Strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
you were
I
also
saw you
jamming
streaming, and I'm
Dome
like,
Feature into the
I see
ground.
Jason stream. I'm gonna go. Maybe he's going to tell about some of his thoughts, so I can steal them and pretend they're mine. No storybook brawl, boring. Okay.
Maybe quick. So
Yeah.
what I liked about the domain thing is that again you can like play a lot of those like secret kicker cards, right? Too many 2 mana 3/2 trample already good, 2 mana 2/2 already fine, even if you can just like +2/+2 it. But then you have like these couple of tap lands in there that make this like a really solid card. This one as well, like if it's a 2/3 trample, that is just like solid, but if it's more than that, super good.
So personally,
just-
I agree with the sentiment that you have there, because
Mhm.
I did it, but I just don't think that green white is a particularly good deck to do that, because it has enough of its own personality, and it actually is one of the most coherent archetypes in terms of like it has this go wide kind of.
So Gaia's Might made me do this.
Okay.
Like this card gets a
Yeah, blame it
lot
on the woman.
better. No, this card gets a lot better when it's +4/+4, right? Like
Yeah.
+2/+2 is like
4 is
good.
a lot though. I don't think you're going to be able to get to 4 very often. Like
The domain decks don't want a combat trick. Like,
it's like an
really
awkward
odd
place
with
between
domain.
yeah. Like I think you want to go a bit bigger if you're trying to get like 4 domain. I think like you can reasonably get like 3 domain maybe off of splash, like a small splash for domain. And like sure, then Gaia's Might is a giant growth, and like giant growth is a fine card, but it's not like something that you really want to be stretching your mana for, or like playing an overly large amount of tap lands for. I don't know. It's
they're
certainly an
just-
interesting question. I don't know how it'll like pan out.
It just felt to me like Czar cares about domain, like stuff like Cleaving Skyrider is nice to be able to play in green white. So it's like a missionary, a heroic charge. It's nice if you can give it trample. Like there were so many cards that I wanted in my green white decks that became a little bit better if I had like a red or a black source available to me.
Yeah, but I think that
yeah.
you can easily achieve that by having like a couple of red sources, which occasionally will make Czar giving you 3 domain, which is brilliant, because anyway you do it mainly for captain's calls to make them 2/2s, and maybe 3/3s eventually, and then maybe you can have like occasional kicker for something, but you don't need to go more all in, because I think that in this configuration that you have, you're going to lose more equity by not being able to play a 3-drop on turn 3 because you have a tap land than you will gain from getting those domain triggers at some time.
Yeah, but my direction to take this is to just like go bigger, play like lean more into the domain stuff. I don't know. I just think you're in an awkward middle ground of like trying to play too much domain for like an aggressive deck, which is like a weird dichotomy.
And
Yes, I'm just
I
not
think
sure
I would see
whether
more in
it's.
Gruul, yeah.
I'm just not sure whether it's costing me much. Like,
I think
is it costing
5
me
tap
much?
lands is a lot.
It's
I think
lot.
5
they-
tap
they-
lands is a lot.
But they
in best
all
of one,
tap
in
for.
best of one, especially, you get 3 lands on your hand. If you have 2 tap lands, you're not playing either your 2-drop or your 3-drop.
my problem with like Gaia's Might, I feel like in this format and like a deck with a lot of tap lands, is that like the value of this card is like you want to cast a 2-drop that's good, and then you on turn 3 you want to like use it on the attack and follow up with another 2-drop, and then you get like a giant tempo boost. But in this format, it seems like A, the 2-drops are pretty bad. B, it's hard to apply a lot of pressure, like threaten in that way. And C, like with all these tap lands, it's hard to double spell. And so in a deck like this, when you're like trying to make a giant like Morrow or something like that, I kind of like the Feat of Resistance or whatnot that like gives the counter and the protection, because like it costs more mana. So like it doesn't help you with like the tempo and being super aggressive, but it more solidly does the protection thing that you're probably trying to do. Because I feel like in this deck, you're using Gaia's Might on like a big creature a lot to try to like get a 2-for-1 with it with like a 4/4 or something would be my assumption.
Yeah.
But
I think I went
you got a much better
overboard
1-mana
with
trick.
these.
You got the uncommon thing that with kicker it puts +1/+1 counters on the team, and that's like a way better trick, and does
Yeah,
not
that's another
require
reason
all the
to go
shenanigans.
bigger.
Huh?
Exactly.
That's another reason to go bigger too. Have more mana.
mhm.
Yeah. Okay. I think there is something. I don't think tap lands are a big cost in general. I think you can run out like
That's
one
mine,
on
is
turn
it?
1, and then on which one?
No.
No, this
No,
is
I
standard, I
just
think.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
this is
pulled
still
in the
yours. Okay, no,
Felixes.
you put the Skyrider. Skyrider is
Yeah,
pretty good in those decks. Yeah.
I was just, but I think like tap land turn 1, turn 2 you play an untap land, you play a 2-drop. Turn 3 you play another 2-drop with a tap land. I think by then you're like solid. All your domains are going to be big, and you're curving out from there on out. And I think you didn't
Yeah, but
lose.
that isn't a good, like the best case scenario. But
Well,
I think
it
that
was
we're
a
now
scenario
trying to
where I.
propose worst case scenario
Yeah.
when you start 2 tap lands in a land and you don't draw the 4th land and you just go either skip a 2-drop or skip a 3-drop.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
Also,
especially
also
again,
tap
the
lands are
2-drops are
draft
not
picks.
brilliant.
Another thing is like tap lands take draft picks. Like
So
which
Yeah.
is like, like maybe they'll be undervalued and they won't be like that hard to pick up. But if you're like highly prioritizing them, that is a cost.
and if your hand is like tap land, regular land, 2-drop, 3-drop, 3-drop, like everything just gets so awkward because of the second tap land.
Yeah. Alrighty. I just feel that being able to like leverage cards like Skyrider in a green-white deck or like a black-white deck is something that we're going to try and achieve this format.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And I'm not
it
sure
makes-
how we're going to do that, but I
it-
think
it
tap lands are
definitely-
going to help us with that.
It definitely
Mhm,
is
Totally agree.
a case for consideration, but I think I solved that by putting 2 tap lands in my deck that splashed for the color, and not in the green-white, because I think green-white I made it pure green-white. But you can click. I don't know even what I built.
We can
in
go
green-white.
into
I
your
think
green. We can go into your green red one if that's the one where you are playing those off-color kickers.
Oh yeah,
That's
look
more
at
of
that.
the
Look
off-color kickers.
at all the tap lands. Look at that.
Yeah, but this is not an aggressive deck. This is a mid-range.
Oh, Sander,
Yeah.
you're playing so many tap lands.
Yeah, but this is a different style of deck. This is not go wide kind of aggro. This is a mid-range deck that
Let's
has the
see
bloody
what
Rada.
it is.
I agree with Paul here. Like I think like
And you know, I
solution-
mean,
if you want to
I'm
play
playing
your
this
Sky
deck
Knight-
like this because I have 2 Flowstone infusions and 2 lightning strikes, which allow me to survive the early game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
fair.
good point.
Like if you want to play your Sky Knight, right? Kicking that is 6 mana. 6 is a lot of mana for an aggressive deck. Like you're not really kicking it in your aggressive deck anyway. So like I think it's better to just
Good.
like try to go.
Sandra,
long.
can you click on my white green just to see what I built? Because I think
For
I
sure,
made like
for
a
sure.
super straightforward version of it. Like
This mean,
not to
lean
call it
celestial
dumb, but
machine.
basically. Okay, no, I did put
Oh,
the
yeah.
Sacred Peaks. One
Yeah,
of them.
deck looks great.
Double Stalker.
Look at
Tajoordan
that, 2
Assault.
stalkers, baby. Let's go. Love to see it.
Yeah. So here also like trying to splash some of the red kickers, right? Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, you built a better
I didn't
version
even-
of mine, I think.
I don't know if I would splash the red kicker, right? Like it helps with Iconoclast, and that's all really. Like
heroic charge.
Heroic charge. Yeah.
charge. I
I'd
don't
play
think
one.
kicker on charge matters much.
But
I
what
don't
is
think
the
I'd want
cost? The
3
cost
tap
is
lands.
literally like 1 tap land that you picked up in a pack that had nothing in it,
It's like
and you're running
That
that.
was the
no
rationale
cost.
behind it, no?
I don't know.
I
I
think
think
I'd
the
only
third
play
tap
2
lane
tap
costs a
lands.
lot in the aggro deck.
Yeah.
I think you guys are underrating the cost of playing like the third tap lane in an aggro deck.
Oh no, I'm
agree.
definitely not
I agree
underrating
with
it because
Jason there.
I bloody wrote a whole article about how
Okay.
MDFCs were bad because they came into the play tapped and calculated how much it costs you
So,
literally. But I
Here's
think
the other thing.
you can get away with 3 in a deck,
You
even if it's
also
a
have 2
slightly
stalkers.
aggressive one.
There's 2 stalkers, so like you don't even like want to play a tap land on 1. Like I really wouldn't want more than 2 tap lands in like a deck like this.
Right,
You know?
but which is why I don't play Stalkers.
That's fair. That is fair.
That is a fair point about the stalkers. To be
Yeah.
fair.
Stalkers and tap lands, they don't like connect.
Yeah,
This
very
is a
well.
totally
by the
agree.
way, this is a perfect example of the complexity in the set.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mm.
it is.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It's going to be interesting unless one deck will be clearly better than everything, and then it's going to be sad.
I don't think it's going to be like that though, because like kicker.
But I do have to
enables
take
so
up the
many different
shields,
decks.
so that goes well with the
Yeah.
stalkers, I guess. Which again doesn't make you cast creature because you have to keep the mana for the trick. So many thoughts.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
is so inconvenient. This right here.
Yep.
Alrighty. Okay, white green. Cover that one. Let's move on. Which one is next? White blue.
Okay, I have a
Anyone?
very interesting build that I'm not
Nice.
sure of, but at least it was interesting because it is based on the 2/1 vigilance blue creature.
All right. You got the unblockable one, the
Haunting
haunting.
Figments.
Haunting Figments, yeah. So basically, it is a classic tempo deck. I do have, Wrath, Compassion, good uncommons, basically. I am splashing a bit, but I don't have 1-drops in this one. I'm splashing for the possibility of casting Kicker on Battlewing Mystic.
And cleaving Skyrider.
Yeah, and there is a Heroic Charge as well, which I technically might use the... So it actually has 2 off-color dual lands and only 1 on-color, just not to have too many of them in the deck. Because I'm more likely to be willing to kick something because, Battlewing Mystic drawn later, I want to be able to kick it, for example. And the whole idea is to get on board early with a couple of figments. And again, this is a skeleton and I built it according to the rules of skeleton, but I think that there will be possibility of drafting a deck with like 4 or 5 figments if they are not going to be challenged. And then you just basically play figment, and then bounce, tap, and then winning through that kind of combination.
I'm surprised you're playing Take Up the Shield with to Take Up the Shield with if you're playing as Figment, because card's not that good with Figment, because
same problem.
You want to play like a spell pre-combat. You don't really want to. Yeah, you don't really want to save it for you block my Figment,
but,
I get it in the turn.
If I have a couple of Figments on board, I don't mind playing Take Up the Shield if of course the opponent is tapped down. I don't mind playing it before combat and hitting them for 5 with lifelink on 3 power of that, because why would I mind it? I'm winning that race. Because I also have Tolerant Gazer and
basically what I'm saying is I'm surprised it isn't something like Impulse or Impede Momentum, especially Impede Momentum. That.
I think that there was. Don't I have Impede Momentum? I was supposed to put them, and I think this was the first skeleton I built. I think that in blue-red that I built on the same kind of premise, I had already Impede Momentums. But yes, that card is definitely on plan, and I think that the Stall for Time, that's very much on time there as well, because you can play it pre-combat, tap whatever you were afraid of attacking, and leave whatever you don't care because it cannot block anyway. So yeah, all these cards are fine there. It's just you can only fit as many. I think that actually Heroic Stance doesn't need to be there. I would still maybe keep 1 Captain's Call, because you can also play before attacks to give your stuff unblockability and stuff.
I also like Captain's Call for chumping if you're trying to do it.
And Wrath Compassion, it also works with Wrath Compassion, giving you fodder to draw cards.
Yeah, Captain's Call, just the 3/1/1s, kind of like Oath. It obviously is worse than Oath at doing that, but it just threatens damage. It prevents your opponent, provides tempo in a way that your opponent can't attack with as many creatures as they might want because of the threat of you swinging back with a bunch of stuff, a bunch of tokens going wide, while also giving you the flexibility of then with what they decide to attack with, you could block with your tokens as well.
I think that in the second half of the format, you're going to be basically, you play the Captain's Call and the opponent will stop attacking because they will be afraid of the whatever the +2/+1 to the team trick. I think early it wouldn't work because most people will not play around it. But then on the other hand, you're winning a lot of games because you just cast the +2/+1. Later season, you just need to have 2 planes on board and they will just stop attacking you.
couple of comments. So, like the Haunting Figment, right? In this world with hardly any good twos, I think a 2/1 with Vigilance is quite a neat too, right? Don't we expect
So-
this to be picked like fairly highly?
I
don't
don't
think
know
so.
how to evaluate Hunting Figment. It's a really interesting card. Like it's good if you can like consistently attack with it unblockably, but if you can't, it's really bad against tokens if you can't make
Right.
it unblockable. Right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Goblin
hey, you
Piper
can
is not
attack and you
good.
can still use Wrath later when you cast your second spell because you paid 2 mana to impede momentum and you still have mana left for Essence Scatter next
I mean,
turn.
yeah,
Something.
that is a thing. That's a thing.
Hey,
But I know
and
it is a very weird card. I think that you remember from Theros Beyond there was the 2/1 that was self-milling, and you just played this into some kind of like weird sleep
Tongue
of
Wave
the
Fisted?
dead deck. Yeah, exactly. I think that it's similar to this, that it will have like a very particular niche build that can be actually quite powerful if executed well. It's just I'm still like not sure if like this is the direction I'm willing to go. Maybe it's better like in blue-red as an unblockable 2-drop, because I think blue-red will also need unblockable 2-drops if they want to play the tempo game.
Yep.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah, I think-
and earlier we were shitting on a story. Go ahead, Tajoordan.
I was just gonna say that I think it's gonna be like very context dependent, and like it's a card that we'll like definitely have to see how it plays out. I think.
Yep. Hey, and earlier we were shitting on a 3/2 flyer for 4 that when it dies draws a card, and now I see a 3 mana 2/1 flyer here that gains you 2 life. What up?
But that's
So
like
I don't
3
like the
mana.
card.
3
The
mana
idea
to
with
power,
this deck-
and it wins races.
Yeah,
I
This
don't
deck is
like
all
this.
about this deck does not have a late game, so this deck races, and if you race, gaining 2 life is better than drawing a card maybe sometime when the creature will die.
you don't even need to worry about like playing around Smash to Dust because your deck is built on a card that loses to Smash to Dust. So you just play into it.
You could
When they
just go
smash
all
to
in.
dust, when they smash to dust, I take up the shield.
You take up the shield one of your creatures, and the other 3 just
Remember,
die.
they smash to dust my creatures. I take up the shield, and what do? They attack into my 3/2 lifelink indestructible because my creature had vigilance and is still untapped after the attacks.
Well,
No.
no. The point is that your other creatures died.
Yes,
Yeah,
like
but the race is
you're
over.
let's assume these are all on your board, right? So now,
I'm still winning the game.
So this left side died, and then we got this left.
Yes.
But it's a 3/2.
Alrighty then. Alrighty. Oh wait, this dies as well, right? Because we were already in turn 4 somewhere. Alrighty. Okay, blue-eyed.
But then
looks cool,
I couldn't save my creature because I didn't have 2 mana untapped.
Okay, next up is blue-black. I think Sierko, you were one of the few who actually built that. So let's
By
dive
few,
into
I mean,
yours.
was I the only one that did it?
Yes.
The one is few, typically.
Yep.
Let's dive into.
Again, this was my sec because I built them in the order. So I thought that because walls are sort of cornered in the Esper section, I have no good idea on how to build a Dimir deck because there is no clear instructions on how to do it from the signposts. I decided that I'm going to try to make it sort of like attrition-y deck with the wall support. So I tried to play a long game. I tried to play some spells that lead me to the end game where I have a bomb and a 5/5 ward 2 creature, which somehow I think can win some games. So there's like a bunch of removal. There is a bunch of walls. I have, I think, 4 or 5 walls in the deck. A testament to my lack of willingness to attack in the first turns. Some weird reason I have a Phyrexian Rager. I don't think
It's a
that
good
is the
card.
best choice there. It's still a good card, and I thought if I play attrition, 2/1s are okay for me. Oh, I have another wall that can fetch me some more walls, so I can wall with my walls. I do have a bunch of 1 mana value spells, so I also have a Micromancer, to be able to fetch this Rona's Vortex or Cast Down or Bone Splinters.
Yeah, this is almost a Dimir gold card, right? Given how good the Dimir
No,
one.
it can play in other, because in red it can also fetch for in
Listen.
some builds of red, not the super tempo aggressive one, but in like slightly more grindy ones, it can fetch for the +2/-2.
Yeah, the
for example.
infusion.
In green, it can get coalition, the strength of the coalition, the +2/+2 kick with white for pump.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Well,
you're
the colors,
still
but, you
in
know.
Bant world, aren't you?
That's also
In white, it can fetch.
I'm just assuming
white,
that if
it
you're
can-
green, you can cast anything.
Actually, in a blue-white control, it can fetch the thing that kills the top creature. That's
yeah,
pretty
runic
decent.
shot. Yep.
Although I still don't know if this card is like control or is it more like a tempo card. Because I think in this one, if I play control, I don't want to lose my life. I want to kill things on sight, so I'd rather play artillery blast. And in tempo, I'm racing, so I'd rather kill anything for cheap and deploy more threats. So 1 mana spell is something that I'm very much interested in.
Target acquired. All right.
But
yeah.
I mean,
So
and that's basically what I build. It's like, it's a grindy deck. I have like a bunch of pinging things like Rona and the Blight Pile, and I can sacrifice my creature to draw more cards, but I don't have that many creatures, so I don't know what I'm going to sacrifice. Yeah, it's weird.
it's.
I mean, Tolarian Gazers are not that great, but they buy me time, and I hope to like really, literally, in this type of deck, I would hope that I have some kind of outrageous bomb. That's why I put the Sphinx of the Clear Skies, and I can Tolarian Gazer my way into getting to 5 mana, into dropping the Sphinx, and into winning the game through the Sphinx because I have some removal.
Yeah, sounds like a solid strategy.
I mean, it's a dodgy plan, but I think there's not many better plans in Dimir in this format yet. Also, I wanted to build a wall deck.
Any black red takers? Tajoordan, you like yours?
I mean, I think it was just pretty basic aggro. I mean, sure, we could take a look at it. I don't think there's anything special by any means. So yeah,
Ooh, it has double hammerhand though.
Oh yeah, I was trying to utilize like the hammer hand with the 3/2 for 2. I feel like that was like kind of an aggressive shell.
Yeah, with the abomination.
A little bit of like sacrifice stuff. I like the 2 gold red black signposts. They kind of play well together. And then I also liked the 3-drop gold card with the Hulker Cyclops. The Act of Treason card. It actually has like its own built-in sacrifice for like 7
Yes,
mana,
I love this card.
But
yeah,
being that it kind of does it all, and we've got some cheaper sacrifice outlets, I thought that was kind of cool. And I don't know. I've been putting this 1/1 flyer that gains death touch in a lot of my decks that were black. I'm just not too sure if it's good or not, but I feel like that kind of like speaks to me, like kind of wondering what the direction of black is, because I never really know. But yeah, this one in particular, I was trying to utilize like a toxic abomination, like hammer hand kind of shell, backed up by value.
One thing that really worries me with the 1/1 fly is the 1 mana blue spell that gives -1/-0, because that thing is going to happen to me a lot.
That's a great point.
I think the 1/1 flyer is a fine aggressive card, because like chipping in for 1 a turn is like decent, and it becomes relevant late. Timely Interference is the blue card, but yeah, like being able to lock a Tolarian Tower is nice.
Yeah, I like combat research on a swarm and then just getting.
Yeah, but I prefer combat research on the blue 1/1, because then at least I can keep the things in the same color, and at the same time I can upgrade it to something useful in the late game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that card looks great.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Battlefly Swarm, to be honest.
I put it in a bunch of decks, I think, but I'm also I put it, but I just because the bench in black was not particularly wide.
Yeah, I'm not that much a fan of like black in general.
But if it's like worth, I don't think this is worth a piece of cardboard, to be honest.
I mean, it's a one drop that deals 3 damage and then kills something. That's like, you can't ask more for a 1-drop.
Yeah, I think it's fine in the same way that I think Deathbloom Gardener is good.
Right.
Mana of 3.
Because it has some late game like purpose. Yeah. Yeah, I really like this card as well, Tajoordan.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, I thought that one was interesting, and I looked at the black what is it? Mind Rot or whatever that like can deal 3, but I was like, I don't think I like that card.
That one I'm also like 3 damage to the face is a lot though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Yeah.
1 mana too expensive.
That's kind of my thought. Like it's not blightning or anything like that.
Because with discarding, you really wanted to play it like when you have something to discard. That's it.
For sure.
To at
for sure.
least like remove the problem of drawing it in like turn 17 and just like, oh well, I guess like 3 to your face for 4 mana. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Looks good. Yeah, like
What are you guys thinking about the Tattered Apparition?
I'm not very high on it. I thought in this like aggressive deck, like one of would be like a way to spend mana and possibly close the game out. But like, I don't know. I think that 4 mana for a 2/2 flyer is not great typically.
Compare
Nah.
this to the Snow Angel in Kaldheim.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
similar. I
Mhm.
think these two are best buddies.
I
These
think
two.
the
Yeah.
white one's
Yeah.
better.
It's you what do you say, Jason?
I think the white one's better.
Yeah, and that says a lot about the black one, right?
Ah,
Yeah, I'm also not a big fan. No,
They can't all be Dragon Whelps, but
Exactly.
I'm excited for Dragon Whelp.
yes, that looks super cool.
Even
Yeah.
the Dragon Whelp can't be. I don't think Dragon Whelp is that good.
I think
no.
Dragon Whelp might be worse than the 2/3 menace. at
wait,
3.
but the Kaldheim Angel was good.
What?
What?
The one that pumps for snow.
Oh, this is one of those Ikoria
Yeah,
hot
but it
takes.
gets +2/+2 for snow, and not +1/+1.
Well, yeah, so it's better than this one. So this one's even
Yeah.
worse. Yeah, the Snow Angel was not good.
Oh, it was when
I,
you had like 12 snowlands, which
It's a
was
lot
the
of
case
snow.
when I played it, always.
I really like the Kavu to Jordan. I think that card is solid. I think there's so much blowout potential with this.
I think it's like okay. I don't know. I don't know how it has blowout potential.
The Frenzy looks like a very interesting card for me.
This one is I think a card you really missed out in the skeleton. I think this card
Yeah,
is
I
like
literally don't even know what that card does.
bonkers.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
It's like
I
a
don't know what
trumpet
that
blast,
card
but when
does.
you pay kicker, every creature that dies this turn, you draw
Yeah,
a card.
draws you a card.
Your-
That's
your-
like
it's a pure
attack
creature,
with the
no?
team, +2/+0, draw 3 cards. That's broken. I think
Yeah,
this card
okay.
is
Yeah,
honestly
no, this looks great. Totally. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
definitely,
it's
I
a
totally
lot-
missed
it's a
that
lot
card. I
better
did
than
not even
the-
see it.
It's a lot better than the Neon Dynasty one, which is like just
Mhm.
draw 1 card if you
Yeah.
have a modified.
Yeah,
creature.
exactly.
Right.
You can
But-
basically design situations when you can literally force them to trade their whole board for your 4 cards, for example. You can
Yeah,
play
you
it
have
even before
a-
blocks just to make sure. But no, you never should do that because if they don't block, they're dead.
Yes, exactly. But I think this is one of those cards that really fits in our alley, to Jordan.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No,
and like
it's,
you do need to be red block for it. Like if you can't kick
Yeah.
it, it's bad. If you can't consistently
You
kick
can
it, it's
be
pretty
red
bad.
white and have a couple of lands that
no.
gives.
I don't think I think you need to consistently kick it for it to be that good. Like I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe in red white
Especially-
if you go wide enough, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know.
In red white, you've
It-
probably just got the white one that you'd rather play though, and like that card should wheel and get you late anyway. I think.
That's true.
Right, but that's 1 mana extra.
It's 1 toughness extra.
Correct. But
Well,
toughness doesn't
I
matter
think
if
that
you're
when you
killing
play
your
it, toughness
opponent,
doesn't
right?
matter because that's
Right.
also striking.
If creatures
Okay,
hit
okay,
face,
fine.
it's alrighty then. That's cool. I think I'm into this archetype. I'm always into red black, so that's
Yeah,
easy.
I like red black as well.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there's no steel and sack. The steel card. There's no like
Yeah.
steel and sack combo. It's just one card.
There's just one
So
card
much
who
less
does
fun.
it all, right? There's
much
no
less
combo. It's just 7 mana. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Red-
There is one card that does it all, and it costs 2 mana and can kill walls, X1s,
Mm.
or artifacts.
Or
This one, I think it's Benji's as well.
yeah.
I see double harbor hand, so that's like a staple in Benji's builds
Yeah,
already.
yeah. I mean, this is, what I'm going to be trying early on. Like, I don't know if they're good or not, but, conversation starters. And I was thinking that Gruul is like not really a deck that I thought was very good. And so like, I tried to like picture like, how would I actually end up in Gruul? And so like the way that this deck is built is kind of like, what if I like start off the draft with like an insane green rare and then just red is super open. And then I open up or get past like another insane green rare. So it's like kind of like a red deck that has like a couple green rares in it. And so like it tries to do the beatdown thing and like take advantage of like being able to kick like the 2-mana combat trick and like stuff. But it kind of plays out like a mid-range deck at the end of the day. Like you just got some burn spells and some medium creatures. So I don't think it's great, but I do kind of like the idea of like putting the hammer hand on one of the gold signpost uncommons to like get a trigger and a combat right away. I think that like kind of has some potential if this were to be a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you have to build a Gruul deck,
It's like awful lot of domain for 2-color deck.
Is there a lot of domain in there? I don't. What domain am I playing that I'm not even
the
seeing?
Spider has domain. The Rada has domain.
Oh no! I mean, the Spider's just a 3-mana 4/3. Like that's kind of like the
okay.
And like you can activate that without domain, correct? It just costs like 1 billion mana.
Well, 6. That's not 1 billion.
Okay.
7, 8. Yes. Oh, okay, 6 because you have to land.
My thought
6 is not 1 billion.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I was trying to build like a realistic skeleton of like what might actually happen. Like I don't think this deck is good, but like
yeah, interesting because with Sprouting Goblin, you basically get a freebie for having 1 extra color or even 2 extra colors in your deck by having enough color.
Yeah,
one completely off-color duel that with Sprouting Goblin. That's the one that I think. No, it's the one with the kicker. You can get the land to your hand.
Yes, with a basic land type. So
you can make like.
Oh, you can get
the cost is putting like a blue-white duel into that deck.
Yeah.
And the benefit is
a great idea.
Suddenly, you have domain 4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea for sure. I think I did that in one of my other skeletons, but yeah, I just didn't put any lands in this one. It doesn't look like. But
we agreed that we want as many lightning strikes as possible.
Yes.
In any red deck.
Yeah, because they can go face, so they're never dead.
Yes. They are never dead.
Depends who you refer to as they, because if it's the opponent, they sometimes are dead.
Yeah, true.
Alrighty. Going through these a little bit quicker, folks, because we've been live for a while. White-black. I think the one I built is pretty standard. Just go white, sack.
Yeah. I feel like white-black kind of builds itself.
Exactly. That's also what I felt.
Yeah, there's just like there's a bunch of black cards that just work well with the white cards.
Yeah, there's a Rager, there's a Warhorse, and then there are Captain Calls, and
I still don't know how I feel about the Warhorse.
Oh, I think it's great. Well, great's an
because everyone tells that it's great, but I'm skeptical of the fact that it's great or not.
It's one of those threat of activation things, right? That's what makes it good, to me at least.
I mean, I'm not worried about the threat of activation later in the game.
I think being able to kick it's what's important. Like the fact that you can get a 3/3 and a 1/1, like 4 power for 5 mana is like a lot of. I don't know. I feel like 4 power for 5 mana is better than like 3 power for 4 mana in this format, and so I think like if it's
and then 2 bodies definitely are not nothing for the archetype, but it's still like it's just like it's a hill giant.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of board states where this is a must block creature. Because this deals like 10 damage out of nowhere.
I block it on my 1/1 fly. Or with my 3-mana 1/1 mana elf with death.
I think that Warhorse will just be good enough in black-white and like probably not outside of black-white. Like there just isn't enough support outside of black-white for it to sacrifice. And like within black-white, like kicking it is actually just good. 5 mana for like a threat that has to be blocked plus a 1/1. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that I get.
Yeah, I don't want to play this outside of black-white. Like
no, me neither. That we can.
Oh no, definitely. That's just like I have like a fishy feeling about that card, and it might be me, it might be the card. We'll see probably in a couple of weeks.
Make a note for yourself.
The idea behind Battle Rage.
Oh yeah, that's one of my other pet cards. I really like this effect.
I think it's a lot worse than Take Up the Shield.
Yeah, it doesn't have like a
I
fly or a draw or
Don't
anything.
think so.
Oh no,
I
it's
think
like
that touch is
infinitesimally
huge.
worse than lifelink
wait,
is just
but-
insane.
Why do
You
hate
can put
the
this on
1/1?
you can put this on a 1/1, and everything that it blocks dies.
Great, you built your own what's it called, bone splinters, but you had to attack first.
Well, it's not bone
It's-
splinter because you don't need to sack a creature, no?
Well,
This
sure.
does so much.
If you're putting it on a 1/1 though, like it's a bone splinters plus a 1/1, but you like had to attack first. I don't know. Like Take Up the Shield does a lot more.
So
But
your
It
life-
gives a
opponent
counter,
lifelink
it
is
gives
busted.
lifelink.
Yeah.
The counter is worth like 1 mana already.
Yeah.
Lifelink, when you choose what you put the lifelink on, that's like a massive swing in the game.
Also, like it doesn't do anything to swing races really. It's good. It's good specifically if you want to trade up for value and you're basically using it's like a 2-mana removal spell situationally in this.
Well,
case.
yeah, but
And
it's
that's, like,
also a 2-mana save my golden common that I wanna keep alive card, right? It fulfills both roles, which is what I like. It's
but
like
it doesn't
a
do them. It doesn't do either of them very well. 2 mana to save your thing is like a lot of mana. 2 is a lot of mana.
Agree.
It's gonna
and-
be like hard. Yeah.
And like your opponent has to play into it in order for you to get value out of the removal spell mode. It's going to sometimes it will happen, right? Like, but it's not going to. It's not like free. It's not just a Doomblade.
You can't,
No,
you can't
it's-
cast it on 2 as removal. Like, so like it costs like, I don't know. It's like, and then you have to hold it up. And like, if you choose not to pay a kicker cost to hold that up, it looks super obvious. Like, I think that in actual
it's
gameplay,
more
it's
awkward to
gonna be
use the
weird.
blocks, and it's awkward to it. It can be awkward to have to attack to use it if you want to use it proactively.
Lightning Strike is a card in the format, so like you can't really play it into red 1. Like,
Yeah, you can
Well,
get
but-
blown out really easily.
If I
Take Up the
target the
Shield is just
1/1,
a more.
if I target the 1/1 with this and my opponent lightning strikes the 1/1, I think I've won that trade.
No, disagree.
no.
You've
'Cause you're
traded
trying
the
to
same
trade
amount
that.
of mana, and you've gone, but your opponent has eaten a 1/1. Like,
Right, but they used their first pick, and I used my 13th pick.
But you were
Right
trying
there.
to kill their 5/5. Like, why else are you doing it? Like, you didn't get the 5/5 that you were trying to kill. Like,
Like,
there's still some
I-
giant
sure.
threat.
Oh, Jason, you muted yourself, I think.
yeah, sorry. I think, looking at it as like, they use their first pick and I use my 13th pick is like not a very good way to look at it, because like the reason why Lightning Strike is a first pick is because it has so much flexibility, including the case where it does this, where it like blows out this card, right? This card, just part of the reason why I don't like it is because it doesn't it's a lot less flexible than you might think. It's like it doesn't do as much as I want it to. It doesn't do enough for me to want to play it. Where sure, its ceiling meets Lightning Strike's like floor, right?
Like,
And then I don't know. I
you
think
can't
yeah.
cast it. Yeah.
I would like this card in a deck where I would feel that my creatures would be double blocked frequently.
yes, it's good
So I guess it plays well
it's
within
good
list.
against double blocks.
So
Or
something
it
like
plays well with the copy.
Black green with chonkers from green.
Yeah, okay, okay.
But I think
I'm
Take Up
not
the Shield
trying
is
to
generally
argue. I'm not
No,
trying
no,
to
no, I mean,
argue that this
don't
is
worry, we
like
get
a
it.
good card. I'm arguing that this is a playable, and I think a lot of people will typically not even look at this kind of card. Where I think that a one-off like pulls you out of a lot of situations where you wouldn't be able to get out.
Yeah, I think
otherwise.
that you got most of the resistance when you compared it with Take Up the Shield.
I didn't do that. You guys threw in that
Oh, you didn't
comparison.
say, you said it's not that far off from the white trick.
Yeah,
I stand behind that. It's not far off.
I think it's pretty far off.
It's like a grade, a letter grade far off from it, or maybe like 1.5 letter grades.
It's like an infinite number of +1/+1 counters off.
Interesting. I think Death Touch is more valuable than a counter in several situations. But we can drop this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
You're not
fine.
even
It's a
mentioning
good
the
discussion.
lifelink.
Yeah, I'll
I
take
like-
lifelink over Death Touch anytime.
Ooh, interesting. If I have a board of 1/1s, I'd rather have Death Touch than I have lifelink. I'm giving you all that.
I think that
That's
maybe
fair.
it's because we are racing more often and Sander is defending more often. That might be just a personal feeling from how you play the game.
I'm not sure. I think Black-White is not a deck that is going to race. I think Black-White is going to be a deck that goes white, that like drains your opponent and slowly kills them. And I think Death Touch is good in that kind of deck. But hey, it's
So is
it's
lifelink.
well, the point I was trying to make is lifelink is not very good if your creature has 2 power, right?
Well,
It's
now your creature has, like, you will have, like, you don't care about protecting your 1/1, right? You care about protecting your big creature. And like, sure, you can use it specifically to trade, like, you know, trade up with like your card with their big thing, leveraging your 1/1.
Exactly.
But like, I don't know, Take Up the Shield just does a lot more. Like,
For
you're
sure,
not
I
going
like
to be
I like
only-
Take Up the Shield.
You're not going to be like mono 1/1s, right?
I don't know, but I think given this like build that I have here, we're close to being mono 1/1s, to be honest.
But
Like
if you're
at
mono 1/1s, you hopefully have a couple of the 4/4 vigilances too, and like that's a card.
Yeah,
that,
like
really.
the
likes to
thing
be-
is, you're not winning
That's-
with mono 1/1s. Like, you
No,
Take Up the-
I'm trying to win with stuff like Vanguard, and maybe one of the white spells should have been in here. Stuff like this, I think, helps you win if you have a board of 1/1s.
Well, yeah, but then your 1/1s grow. And then you
They
can
do,
Take
they
Up the
do.
Shield.
Another card
Anyways,
that
we
I
should probably move on.
don't have.
Yeah, we should move
like,
on. We should move on.
warm feelings is Vanguard, and I see that in many decks that you put, and I'm willing to be convinced, but I don't see myself playing a 3/2 ever for 3 mana unless
This
it's
is like
Queen's Gate.
this is the unicorn, right?
It's
This
a
is-
lot worse than Unicorn. I think it's
It's
like
a lot worse,
begrudging
but
playable. Like, I think it's begrudgingly playable sometimes.
Like Unicorn's strength was that it also chipped in for 2 damage early in the game, and of course early it cost 4, which was a big difference. And here it's just like I honestly I would probably prefer it as a 3 mana enchantment that can tap for 4 mana to give my creature +1/+1, because this 3/2 is just a liability.
Mhm. You're not wrong there. I think its main appeal is like being the mana sink for a deck that doesn't have like card draw or like giant kickers or anything. Like once you are sitting around with just a bunch of mana, like it at least gives you something to do when you have a bunch of 1/1s. But I don't think I'd ever want more than 1 in my deck because I never want 2
No.
on the battlefield.
Oh no, I'm sure that I
And-
don't want more than 1. I'm just wondering if I want to have more than 0.
I agree that it would probably be better as an enchantment, which makes me not want to play it because I think I would hate it as an enchantment. But you make a good point.
I like the card. I like it as a one-off in like red, white, black, white stuff.
Yeah,
But
I could see one of like definitely early on that is something that I would play.
it's like a rare effect.
Like,
that
And
I
you know,
like.
I mean, I
Okay, so-
actually loved the Zendikar one, the one mana 1/2 in
Oh, yeah.
Zendikar.
Yes,
I
you
played
get
it like
Dominaria.
loads of times.
The card was
Three
great,
mana-
but again, only one of.
3 mana
Yeah.
3/2 is like bad as a vanilla body, but like it doesn't take that much to make a 3 mana 3/2 playable. So I think like this card will be fine. It's just not.
I mean, I
exciting.
played a lot of 4 mana 3/2s and I was quite happy about it.
What card is
Oh,
he
Organ
referring
Hoarder.
Organ
duh.
Hoarder, yeah.
Oh.
Duh.
Alrighty. Let's see what's next. Ooh, blue red. Any takers for blue red? Pawel, you want to do yours?
I can go because
Yeah, I didn't
because
even
it's my
build this
turn.
one.
I think like
I left
in
it to the
order of, like,
professionals.
Let's
not
see
many
what you,
creatures, but I have 2 figments. So basically, the idea of this deck is be on board early, and then just disrupt as much as you physically possibly can, and that's it. Nothing higher than 3 mana. Probably, actually, I can put 1 extra spell because I can play 16 lands. Probably only one tap land rather than 2. But I think you can get away with 2 in most cases because you can play it as a 4th land because you don't have anything more expensive than 3, so hopefully you can get away with it on occasions. It has to have the critical mass of spells if you have all the spells pay off, and you have the Jitu amplifier, you have the Balor, I think it's called, the 1/3 flyer, and the electrostatic infantry. Is Jitu amplifier a common or uncommon?
It's a common.
Common.
You should
Yeah, you
probably
can put another one of those easily, and then play 16 lands. I also put a couple of the Soaring Drakes, because I think that if you do enough damage early, maybe the flyer can go all the way. And also with Balor, you want to have your threats being able to go unblocked. That's why the Haunting Figments, I think, will be decent in this deck. And then when you go down, you have the spells. And I put like the full package of the cheap red removal. You have the Fires of Victory. You have 2 Flowstone Infusions, 2 Lightning Strikes. You have 2 Impede Momentums, because once you put 1-drop, 2-drop, or 2-drop, 3-drop, you can start tapping things of your opponent and winning the race like that. And you have Tajoordan Gazers, because they allow you to completely cancel what they were doing. I mean, they drop a 3-drop, you just bounce it, give unblockability to your Figments, give bonuses from Balor before attacks, and that's what you exactly want to do. You want to return to the hand the blocker. You don't want to remove the things that they attack with. So basically, you use your life as a resource as much as possible, and you remove the possibilities for them to block as much as possible, and that's how you win the race, basically. Not like... So the problem with blue-red is that it has like amazing payoffs, but I looked at blue instants and sorceries, and 4 of the 13 blue instants and sorceries are counter spells, which don't really play well with that kind of strategy, because both the 1/2 and the 1/3, they care that you cast the spells on your turn, so you can't play Essence Scatters. And that leaves you with the Electrostatic Infantry, which is an uncommon, that you're fine playing Essence Scatters. But then also like Figments would combo better with the things that you play on your turn. So yeah, there's not so many spells in blue that you can play in this type of deck. And I think that, you know, timely
That's super good.
Was it timely
interference?
Interference is like perfect. Impede Momentum is just absolutely phenomenal for that kind of deck, because you just like play it before combat and you remove a blocker. And Tajoordan Gazer makes exactly the same. So these 3 spells are like super premium. Red has more stuff that you can play, because you can play lots of combat tricks even before attacks and whatever. So that's fine. But with blue, you are quite limited in what spells you can play. So that's basically the big problem. Even Shore Up, I'm keeping it there mainly for protecting the Balor, but it's not perfect. And at some stage, you probably will have to gamble playing it before combat to give unblockability to your stuff.
This Impede Momentum reminds me a lot of the... there was this
It's
white card.
Heliod's Punishment.
Yeah, but Heliod's Punishment. That card wasn't good, right?
It was good in a particular deck. Unfortunately, Theros was a slowest format in history, and I don't think that this deck is the slowest deck in history. If there was Heliod's Punishment in blue in that format, I would have slaughtered it with the blue-red tempo in that format, because it was great.
Okay, all right.
Problem is that white was a very grindy color in there, and in red-white, Heliod's Punishment was a really good card.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Okay. I was just wondering. I think I've built mine like super similar. I think mine has a bit more top end than yours. Yeah, I'm in love with the lookouts. I like the Micromancer in these kind of decks.
But I think, you know, this is like a very valid second version of that deck.
I run
when it goes like slightly. Yes.
Oh, we got some dust in there?
Yeah, some dust and dust action there, boy.
Oh, man.
Main deck dust. There you
choose
go.
your mode. Choose your mode.
It is so good with Figment.
But yeah, I think that this is like this card is
Najal?
also
bonkers,
Yeah, this card
right?
is like Bergstrider that always gets activated. I just don't know if it aligns fantastically with what blue is trying to do in this format. I think the card is dope. I just don't
It's
know.
a tempo card, right? Like blue
Yeah,
red
yeah,
is
it is. It is a
tempo-y,
tempo card.
blue
Yes,
white
of
is
course.
tempo-y. This is tempo.
Of
It
course.
fits.
It's just that 5 mana is a lot in this tempo deck, I think.
Yeah, but I think a
and I think
limited
that at 5
typically
mana,
you're
I'd
going
rather
to
double
hit.
spell with something.
Maybe.
But I think that this build, like especially with the Najal, it is a valid build. I just built a more aggressive, like all-in version. I think that there is a slightly more grindy one. But here, my slight issue, I guess, is I don't think that in your version Phoenix Chick is a card that I would be interested in playing. I guess you have the curiosity, do you?
I don't think I have it in this one. No.
Okay.
No.
No, then
I
definitely. I don't
I
think
just
that
like
it's,
it as a card.
because the problem
Dot.
with this deck is that it will rarely attack with 3 creatures. So you basically play it as a 1 mana 1/1 flyer with haste, and that's it.
That's reasonably fair. Yeah. No, that's right. This could be a better card for sure. Alrighty. What comes after blue reds? Boom, boom, boom. Black green. Ooh.
Ooh, I built this one. I think it's got the 1/1
Oh.
flyer.
I'll dive into yours then.
But
It does.
I thought
does.
this
There's a
was
bunch
just
of
like-
blue stuff also.
Yeah, I thought it was just a base for like a 5-color domain deck. Like I've got like the off-color Boros land. This is the one where I did that.
Sweet.
But yeah, I've got like the Morrow and like some other like domainy kind of things. And
I'm not
main-
sold on Morrow, like running an off-color land for Morrow, but sure.
Look, Jason, I think that today we
That's
spent
fair.
like a reasonable amount of time complaining about Maro.
Yeah.
It wasn't complaining about Morrow, but
To be fair, I added it at the last second. It wasn't even in, like, if you look at the slideshow, the red white land is not there, and then if you look at the actual build, it is.
No,
there.
we meant Mark Rosewater.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, not the off-color land. Okay, the rosewater. Okay, yeah. So giving Mark his due.
I think Mark is great.
Yeah.
No. It's like like honestly, it's absolutely insane that a person works in game design for 26 years and is still doing it. It's like I still listen to his drive to work. Like
Yeah, he's
960 episodes of a podcast while being an exec in the multi-billion company. That's like insane.
Yeah. Could not
he's
agree more.
such a good force for like communication and magic. But yeah, anyways,
Anyways,
I think territorial Morrow is a lot worse.
That's fair. And yeah,
Well,
my
now
main
he was
point for
clearly
this deck-
territorial when he was attacking us solving limited too quickly.
But I wanted to look at like Urborg Repossession, I think it's called, and my thought was like Sultai is like a good shell to use that card in combination with like the Vine Shaper Prodigy and the Phyrexian Ranger to just like rebuy these value engines, and that was kind of the base for this like concept was just kind of recruiting value through like trading off and just grinding people out late game.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
worry
I like
with
that.
like Vine Shaper Rager is like they're a lot worse than Organ Hoarder because 2/2 trades a lot worse than 3/2. So I'm like a bit worried about like them not being as impactful as immediately. Like you need to like you'll often need to like double block with them to get to have them be relevant. So that's like a small worry. I don't know. They're
but
still,
it is a
good.
2/2 for 2. Like
Yeah,
if you're on the draw, your opponent plays a 3/1 on turn 2, then you can drop your Vine
Yeah.
Shaper.
they're still good. It's just like not
Cards drawn.
like Organ Hoarder is a big thing, like a really high thing to aspire to.
Yeah, indeed. And so coming
Yeah,
close
so-
is already making it a pretty good card, right?
It's also that with this build you get like 65% chance of casting it with Kicker on turn 4. Assuming you draw 4 lines, obviously. With,
Okay.
with
Did
3
you count
sources
the
of
Vine
blue
Walls?
plus the.
Did you count the Vine Walls? I think
Ah.
like Vine Wall.
Okay,
is,
yeah, that changes quite a lot. Yeah. Because then
Yeah,
you see
Vine
so many
Wall-
more cards.
is like something like plus 20%. I did some like hybrid geometric calculating. Vine Wall I think is a card that's pretty interesting. If you have like like a few sources, like 2, 3, 4 sources, it's like plus 20-ish percentage points to draw a splash source if you play it on turn 2.
It's funny because I've seen some content that said that Vine the walls were basically a trap in this format, and I'm thinking like,
Are they?
one mana find the land is fine. This is
I've
2
always
mana
liked
find
this
the
kind
land,
of card.
gain 3/4 life.
Yeah, I like Vine Wall a lot. I think Vine Wall is one of Green's best commons, because, well, partly because like Green just
wants
doesn't
to be
have that many
domain
good
also.
commons. Yeah, but also like it just does what Green wants. It's like it's kind of like a main deck environmental sciences, but like different, but like slightly better at doing the like have a generally better mana base without like fixing for a specific color, right? Like if you have a bunch of tap lands, it'll like, you know, improve your mana situation. It might not find exactly the red source you're looking for or something, right?
And it's also like, I think that not many people appreciate it, but in best of one, getting those extra lands is so important if you're playing like a top end kind of deck, because you will have trimmed all those 4-land hands in the opening hand, or 5-land hands in the opening hand that allow you to play like big things and drop 6 drops on turn 6. You have like a good, 10% lower chance of playing a 6 drop on turn 6. Oh, 10% points lower chance.
Also, I think it's not insane to imagine Vine Wall blocking for like 5 life.
Yeah.
Like,
It'll
do that. If
you manage it, if you think that you're playing against a deck that will attack you for 5, you just like let things in early and pay with your life, and then just like save it for the big block. No?
Or even just like, you block a 1/1 token like a couple times, and then you block it again when they cast their pump spell, and like it's a 3 power creature. That adds up as well. Like it is a shame that it's not a 0/3. I think it could have been fine as a 0/3, and it would have been really good. But
it would have been good as a 0. It would have been really good. I was thinking it would have been great as a 1/2.
Yeah, I like that, but unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Again, yeah. Saj.
Up. Alrighty. I read a tweet. I read a tweet today where somebody said that Vine Wall wasn't helping you fix, and I was like,
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me if your mana base is built correctly.
Exactly. It's going.
I played it in my monocolor deck, and it doesn't help me fix.
Yeah, Vine Wall is not going to help you fix if your only fixing sources are like gardeners.
Like if you're building the gardener and the Traverse the Wilds or whatever it is.
Right, but 6 deep in a limited deck is like so much.
Wandering Mind was insane.
Yeah.
It was just like, which card would you like from your deck? Like,
I guess I can I can go see where I like actually put these numbers, but like basically at some point I was like, okay, I'm going to actually look at these numbers. If you have, so assuming you're casting on turn 2, right? I'm comparing the chance to have your splash color on turn 2 versus the chance that to like naturally draw it versus the chance that you draw it after you play a Vine Wall, which is so you've drawn like 8 cards total on the play. If you have 2 land sources for your splash, the probability you have one naturally is 36%. But if you play Vine Wall, it goes up to 58%. It's like 22 percentage points. 3 sources, it goes from 50 to 74. At 4 sources, it goes from like 61 to 84. So it's like about like a 20-ish percentage point increase.
It's gigantic.
Yeah, and 20 percentage point increase between 30 and 50. That's just doubling your chances of doing that.
That's if you have like 2 sources.
Yeah. But it's fine because sometimes you just don't even need it for splashing, but for extra domain bonuses. And that's exactly fine. If you double the chance of getting your domain bonuses on turn 5, great.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I think is important to point out is like people like might look at Vine Wall and compare it to like something like environmental sciences where like, you get to target like what land you want, right? So the difference is environmental sciences is better in a deck where you're playing like 8/8/1 and you're splashing like red in your blue-green deck. Then sciences is better at finding that one land. But Vine Wall is better for a 5 color, like even more color mana base, where you're just playing a bunch of random lands, and like, you know,
Yeah,
like
especially
I said
that
before,
you want to pick something based on what you already have in hand and on board.
yeah, like you like don't care as much about specifically I want this one mountain and nothing else. You just want something that makes your mana better.
And the Vine
By the
Wall
way,
can
I mean,
get basic land types, not just basic.
I think it's like any land, right?
I don't think
yeah,
you can get a
just-
pain land with it.
No,
can you?
no, it says a land card.
A
It
land.
says
Okay,
A
cool.
land.
Yeah, okay, even better.
A land
yeah.
card. So you can get like
Yeah, this
these
is
kind of
not
things.
going to matter much in limited, but you know.
No, but yeah, no,
So,
it's
Jason, I
great.
mean-
I'm very excited for it.
Well, Jason, everyone really, what do you think? Like how? Because like lots of people say that getting domain 5 will be not happening frequently, and I don't think so. I think that getting domain 5 is going to be, if you build a domain deck, you're going to hit domain 5 in like probably half of the games or something.
So,
Y-
based
yeah.
on what I've seen of the domain payoffs, I think I'm not going to get domain 5 that often because I don't care about 5 versus 4 that much. I think
Exactly.
4 is. I just
think
feel like 4
specifically
is
about
enough.
the blue-green 2/4 flyer, because there I see like it's a massive difference between those.
Sure, if you have exactly that card, it's a massive difference. But I don't like that card that much, honestly.
I like that when I have domain 5.
Well, okay. I don't. Even if you have domain 5, it's like you hit your opponent, you scry 5, draw a card. You spent a lot of effort to do that, though, and you're attacking
You get
with
2 mana of effect, basically more than 2 mana, because impulse is 4 cards to scry and draw 1.
Okay, sure, but like you're a naturally defensive deck that's playing a 2/4 flyer for 4, which is like not that great. Of
2/4
a
flyer
defensive-
for 4 is a very defensive thing because they cannot attack into it comfortably. Then you attack into them, and then
Well,
you
you
can
don't
look
want
in
to
those
attack.
5 cards for a 5-drop that will block them again.
Sure, it'll be okay. Basically, what I'm saying is like it'll be fine, but the thing is, you're not gonna get it on turn. You're definitely not getting domain 5 on turn 5. I think like it's going
Oh,
to
yeah,
be
the
really
turn
hard
3,
to get
yes, of
domain
course.
5 on turn 5.
Already when you played, you have domain 5 because you played your dual, basic. Okay, I'm kidding, yeah.
yeah, but like basically, you're not gonna assemble domain 5 by turn 5. So like you're not attacking with it on turn 5, right? Like, and it's I don't know. I don't like.
I
the
am if
card
I'm
that
drawing
much.
a card, that's for sure.
Well, no. But the thing is, like, I'm saying you're not attacking with it on turn 5 because you won't have domain on turn 5, and so you won't be drawing a card on turn 5. But yeah,
And there's an argument to be had that I will attack to scry enough to get my domain 5 through that.
sure. But like, if you can attack with your 4 mana 2/4 flyer in a defensive deck, you're already doing pretty well.
Actually, at turn 5, I'm quite happy probably playing the find a basic land, make 2 1/1s
Yeah, that's true.
to enable my further attacks and stuff like that.
So okay, the one thing I'm kind of I find kind of sketchy about that is like Scout the Wilderness is not that good for getting domain. I think because you don't really want.
Yeah,
to
I
play
know, it cannot
off-color
find
lands.
duels, yeah.
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 What do you
but
think about the
indeed,
Slimefoot
both-
survey?
Both Scout the Wilderness and the Weather Treaty both say like very specifically basic land card. And I
Yeah,
did
no.
not say-
I know that. I know that.
No, I know that you know that. I'm just pointing it out that is like you have to be
Probably
very
still-
aware of that.
When I'm playing a domain 5 deck, I'm probably running.
I don't think so.
5
You want to
types of
run basic
basics,
lands.
and
I
I'm
don't
probably
think so.
running-
I agree. I don't think you're running 5 types of basic lands.
I
in the
don't think you
domain
are.
5.
Yeah.
No.
I think you're
I
running
think you're running
I think it's 3 at max.
Okay,
two at
maybe.
three
I
at
think
max.
that there will be two
mainly
types of-
two
I think there will be 2 types of domain decks. The one type that relies
that wins
on
matches.
the duel, relies on the duels, and prefers to have the Slimefoot survey. Slimefoot survey.
Oh yeah, that's
The
the
card.
5
You-
mana card, right? That's the 5 mana card.
Yeah,
Slimefoot Survey. Here it is. Yeah. Pop.
Yeah, that's the one.
Slimefoot.
So there will
I
be
don't-
this type of deck that basically plays the game early to control, then gets domain 5, and then accrues the value from domain 5.
This is a constructed plant. I don't think you play this card in limited.
I don't
I
want to
think
play
I'm
that
going.
card.
I put it in a bunch. I think I put it in my black green. If we are looking at black green right now, if anyone forgot,
I'm not
we're
running.
looking at
Five is-
black green. Yeah.
Five is a lot.
so much, and you're not even
For
drawing a
doing
card. You're
nothing.
putting it
Yeah.
on the top of your library. If
Wait, they
this
don't
would
go in
say
play?
like
It's fine.
you don't draw.
I keep
5
saying
is a
this,
lot
but
of cards in the limited deck, as someone very wise said.
it's okay. This text is not better than like Scry 3.
I think I agree.
Okay.
I'm not a
Depends
big
on your
fan.
deck composition. If
Okay,
you
that's
have
sure.
3
But- okay.
bombs, if you have 3
What are
bombs
we
in your
ramping
deck,
into
it's a better
here?
text. If you have 0 bombs in your deck, it's a worse text.
Maybe
Yeah,
if we
I
have the world spell.
Yeah, I think
Maybe-
like I don't the more reasonably herd migration. Herd migration is the one you actually want to ramp into. But I
But-
think Slimefoot Survey, I don't like it because like you don't need that much ramp. And you just would rather play the 3 mana card that kicks for 1 and a white for 2 1/1s. I think. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't get your dual
Okay.
lands. So it's
Before you go
slightly
on
worse
there-
at Assembling Domain. Yeah.
Before you continue, you are exactly the person that told me that ramping from 3 to 5 and then from 5 further is what you want to do in the green decks.
Yes, but the way you do that is
So
like,
ramping from
explore
5
the
to
wilderness.
7 is further than this thing.
So okay, the difference is that when you ramp from 3 to 5, it's fine for you to do that without impacting the board as much. But then you can't then also not impact
Ramp
the board
on
when
turn
you're ramping
5. Indeed,
further
because
from
then you're
5.
simply dead. on turn five.
I didn't say I want to ramp from 3 to Slimefoot Survey. I want to control the game until Slimefoot Survey, and from Slimefoot Survey is my moment when I start going back into the game because my domain all of a sudden is 5 every single thing I play.
I just think you
I
don't
think-
need Slamford Survey for that. I think like if you've gotten to like that much mana, you can then start playing like I think Vine Shaper Prodigy is just better than Slimefoot Survey at that point. For
obvious.
assembling
Like,
your domain.
well, yeah, obviously. Let's go.
I don't think that I don't think I had a green deck that had any kind of domain synergies that didn't have 2 Vinefoot. What's the name of the thing?
Prodigy.
Prodigy.
Vine Shaper Prodigy?
Can you put my black green?
Yeah, let's
Sure.
let's
Because
run
I
the
think
tape.
I-
Let's check this bad boy out. I've heard a lot of Slimefoot Survey.
I was just admiring
I
the
think I
Gardner,
have
the
one
Gardner
Slimefoot
into
survey in there,
survey into migration curve.
Oh my god,
Like
that's
I was
beautiful.
admiring this. That was
That's something I want
something
to do.
else.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, I
you'll
mean-
die before then. But
That is, if you're on the play, that's a pretty solid curve.
that is a solid curve. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Boom.
Oh, that's a beauty right there. Look at that. We got the 1/1
Ooh.
flyer, not even a piece of cardboard.
Wow.
yeah, I just don't think Domain 5 like is worth it here for like play like
This is a
I don't
green
think
black deck.
Where's domain 5? Where are we benefiting from domain
where's
here?
the domain? What's going on here?
The 6 drop.
Well,
Nope.
it allows us to get a worm back.
Yeah, the worm or the Bailiff, which is good.
Or the
also.
Bailiff, which you can also get back with domain 4. This
No,
one you can get back
I
with
need
domain
5 for
0. This is interesting. Do you need
I think
5?
that
Oh, is it
the-
toughness?
I think
No,
that
number of mana
Turk
value.
Spawn of Turk is
Ah, it's mana
like-
value.
one of the better black-green cards because it does exactly what I think that this archetype wants to do, so play a longer game. And then take
you-
over and become an actual threat.
Don't you think you want to play like 18 or 19 lands with Turk? Is Turk not an incentive for you to play a land-heavy deck?
No, that's fine. That's
don't
fine.
think so.
I will get my lens from Slimefoot Survey.
Makes sense. Now it all makes sense.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I just think this card is dead here.
Yeah, I don't like the Slimefoot Survey myself, but I'm willing to be wrong. Like, it looks like a fun card.
I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm going to
I
play
just
the
wish
hell
Slimefoot
out of
Survey
it.
made 1/1s. Like I
Yes.
keep saying this, but like it would make so much sense. Slimefoot makes Saffrolings. Make
Yeah. I
1/1s
think that
equal to domain.
one card that I didn't put
Yeah,
in my
thanks.
build. One card that I didn't put in my builds, and I probably should have, is the wall, the O2. and
Oh,
more
yeah.
of those would basically be
Especially-
better
yeah.
than the Slimefoot there. Yeah.
You have bone splinters in your deck, don't you? Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
you-
O2 is
Oh, yeah,
perfect
yeah.
with bone splinters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slot some O2s
Pieces
in,
of
drop
Yeah,
cardboard.
well,
survey.
we solved the problem with my deck. Thank you very much for the deck
Yeah,
tech
we
without
dropped the
even
swarm.
spending any channel points.
There
By the
we
way,
are.
didn't spend channel points on Sander's channel for such amazing things as hydration. Or do you have hydration, actually?
Oh, I, hope
I
so.
don't think so. I generally drink by myself.
Hydration is important.
Oh, so sorry. If you want company, just call us. We will come.
Yeah, that way you can get
Hey.
a bad beat story.
Hey, last but definitely not least, I think we saved one of our favorites for last.
Well,
Red
you-
Light.
you-
Are
you
we
skipping
past
Simic?
blue-green?
Are you just like
Because it's-
ignoring that Simic exists?
Yeah,
It's
Simic is
literally the
just another
same
black
thing.
green. Yeah, it's
It's
literally
just
like Sultai
this
is the only
deck.
It's
But
literally the
with
same
blue.
deck.
It's literally the same thing.
I think
totally
all of
agree.
the green decks are gonna like blend together a bit,
Yes.
except
Oh,
like
yeah, that's
green
true.
white,
No, no.
or if you build
No.
a more aggressive green red deck.
Yeah,
It's not accidental that green is 10 domain spells in green only
Yeah.
and nothing in other colors, no?
Here, let me fix this slide for us. There we go. Slide deck
it's beautiful.
fixed. It's beautiful. This is way better than it was before.
I think that my blue green is actually quite Sultai. In
Okay,
general.
okay.
Mine
No,
is
no,
also
I don't want you to look at it. I'm just saying that it's basically Sultai.
Okay. Let's look at red white. I like aggro.
White
Let's look
red,
at,
Polish flag. Thank you very
white
much.
red,
We,
yes.
we respect the flag.
Mana value. Yeah, we
Whoa,
don't. In
that's
the
like
list.
that's like an expensive version.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
love it.
So many Griffin protectors.
Wow.
don't
Yeah,
know
what's
how-
up with Griffin Protector?
It's
Is
like
this mine?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is yours.
it must be because it's not mine.
Oh yeah, I don't know. So one of the things that I just want to try out is like Griffin Protector and Captain's Call. Like, I mean, it could be terrible, it could be good. I don't know, but it's something I want to try out.
So
It's
now
really
you
a
have
way
five.
to
Mahamoti.
What's up?
I said DIY Mahamoti.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I think that just getting multiple triggers on the Griffin Protector, it could be interesting. And
And
three
this is
copies-
also a sick curve, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, like
This is a
Protector and the
sick
strike
curve.
team is just like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
and
something else.
so-
and also the 1/1s are just gonna block for days. If you can
And-
like make multiple bodies several times, that's fine.
Yeah.
Hammerhand is a nice way to kind of get through if they have like one blocker with reach or something like that as well. It kind of transitions the power into actual damage. So I don't know if this works, but if it does work, it's going to be one of the most fun decks for me to play in draft for sure.
I'm
I'm
just
still
a bit
impressed that you
worried
didn't
that
put charge in it. Like because you can't just invest all making like 3 creatures a turn and invest it only in Griffin Protector as the payoff for making multiple creatures.
yeah.
Yeah, there should totally be a charge, and there shouldn't be like a hurler Cyclops. Like that was from like a black red deck or something. Like that card doesn't belong there. Like that, I totally agree. Like this is maybe the first deck I ever built in this format. Like I
Okay,
should
okay.
totally have the charges. Like no
It's
doubt.
funny how the first skeleton is always like, I was trying things, okay?
Yeah, like
And
I have
I
no
know
idea.
exactly what you mean because I know how bad is my first skeleton compared
Right.
to the last one when I actually looked through all the cards in many
Yeah.
iterations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Protector, I'm just a bit worried that it just like dies to removal. It's like obviously everything, like most things die to removal, but like it's
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
a problem when you in an aggro
point.
deck when you play a 4-mana creature and it like is not particularly good at like it's like particularly vulnerable to like a lightning strike or a citizen's arrest or just getting bounced by Tellurian Geyser.
Cut down?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it does get
Yeah.
cut down.
Cut down on the protector is like, bam.
Whew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably be bad. I don't know.
I think like it's certainly powerful enough that it's like probably at least fine, but I don't know.
My thought is it's just like a 3-power flyer, like almost always. Like if you're not casting a creature every turn in your red white deck, like you're probably not winning, or not creating a creature token or anything, like you're probably not winning anyway. So I don't know. But I mean, again, if they have a couple blockers for like the couple turns that it's really big, like maybe it just doesn't do enough at 4 mana.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not against it.
I'm still like very much willing to try this as a creature. My point was more also like it's dope with Baird because it will always give you a 1/1 if
Oh,
either
that's
of
true.
the cards survives. But I just think that there are more go white payoffs that you can put in a deck than the Griffin Protector.
Think
And I
that
think Griffin
Protector,
Protector is
yeah.
probably like the weaker of the payoffs, basically.
Yeah, but it is one. I mean,
No, it definitely was. It definitely won. Yeah.
Griffin Protector into Strike, Protector into Call. Yeah, for sure. That's a lot.
But yeah, this is almost like a shell for a combo version of go wide when
this is
you
definitely
actually are not putting early pressure, but then once you get going and you play like a Keldon strike team, is it? Keldon strike team, Keldon strike team, and then attack and give everything +2/+1, and you win basically in like it's sort of like prowess deck from M21 when you just like played the Goblin Wizardry, and then Trumpet Blast, dead.
I love the random Shivan Devastator in this deck.
Oh, yeah.
As if
Yes.
Oh, is it mine?
This is just a white deck with a Shivan Devastator.
I think this is honestly
Okay.
a Pawel's pet card, and it's going to have a game in hand win rate of like 32% on 17 hands.
What?
No,
the 2/1
it's
is
gonna
yeah,
be
well,
more
that's
like
another 2/1. Look at it.
Look,
okay, you
if-
heard it here
if
first.
it will have
Mesa
a
Cavalier has a
32%
game in
win
hand.
rate. Yeah.
32.
You heard it here first. 56% on the nose.
On the nose.
I think that I think it will have exactly 1 percentage point higher win rate than the average win rate of the 17 lens users.
Okay, yeah, that's
Oh,
like
how
about the
do-
same thing as saying 56%. But
How
a
does
bit
it compare to the win rate of white? So we're going to make a
2%
little
lower.
bet out of this.
2%
So-
lower than white.
I think it's going to be okay with that. Maybe 0.7% lower than the average white.
I was thinking 1% lower. Than the
Okay,
average.
I'll go over 2 then. I'll be on 3 somewhere.
Wow.
And then I think
Damn! Someone doesn't
Oh,
like tempo.
That's getting down to 48% pretty quick.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's
not
still that's still 20 percentage points over 32 though.
It is. Have you ever heard of exaggeration? And
Well, I clearly heard an exaggeration just minutes ago when someone said 32%.
can I tell you about our Lord and Savior exaggeration? No, but
Look, it's
yeah.
How big a difference between Mesa Cavalier and Shivan Devastator? 3 mana, 2/1 gains 2 life. 3 mana, 2/2 haste.
Flying haste.
What that
Can we
big
get Griffin
difference?
Protector in the mix? Let's get Griffin Protector next to
Yes,
Devastator,
let's
too.
get Griffin Protector here.
I can't believe we're comparing these cards.
Let's.
Look, I put Devastator in this deck because that's like a busted card on raid and it fits in any deck, and why not?
Yep.
And yeah, that's it. That's basically it.
Hey, it works with Baird. Synergy with Baird.
Synergy. I put it for synergy with Baird. That's why.
Oh, yes, because this always has more power than space. Ooh, that's
Oh, no,
sweet.
if you
That
played
is-
for
yeah.
one red, then no.
A little bit of a win more, but I'm here for it.
It's a mythic. I'm not very likely to draft this anytime soon, but
But I'm sure hoping to.
Yeah, I'll take it if they give it to me.
Like, okay,
I-
so guys, okay, we're finished with we did all the colors.
Yeah.
we did
Let's
all the
give
colors.
let's give our predictions. Let's do some
Ooh.
writing.
Yeah,
on the
that was a
backside.
card I was
And
missing.
Give our predictions for colors in order and for
I'm a war-
top three bombs.
Sure.
terms of
I
for
just
win rate, yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to do top 3 bombs. Okay,
I don't even know what the
say
rares
colors.
are called.
Let's see. So white, number 1. And then after that,
okay. Colors, right?
blue
Yeah,
and
yeah.
green, or no, blue, green, and red I all like. I think after white, blue and red tied. Then green, but I'll draft it more than any other color. And then black.
Okay, let me put this on paper. Okay, so Jason says Repeat.
Okay,
Jason.
number
White?
1, white, and then after that, blue and red tie. Well, maybe I want to say like yeah, blue and red tied, then green, then black. Final answer.
Huh.
Final answer.
I have white, then red, then green and blue, and then black.
Wow.
Okay, so the same, but you like blue less.
Yeah. Or red more, depending on your.
Yeah. Well, no, because I have a gap.
No,
between blue
okay,
and
yeah,
red.
because I. Or green more and red more. Yeah, whatever.
I'm pretty much like the exact same. I'm white, but then I'm green, and then I'm blue and red, and then I'm black.
Everyone agrees so far that black is the worst and white is the best.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like we're pretty much like, and then like the middle ground, you know, like that's chopping hairs or whatever.
Is black the worst? I think I'm going to disagree.
Wow.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to disagree there.
Black
I think
best.
black is like a super good, like second color. I think it combines pretty well with all 4 except for blue, maybe.
Oh no.
I like guesswork.
Yeah, goes down the list.
Okay,
black's
I
bad.
have my 3 rares also and mythics.
Oh,
3 rares and mythics.
I need to predict 3 rares and mythics. Time
Wow,
to
I don't
look at
think
rare and
Archangel
mythics for
Wrath.
the first time.
I don't think I know 4 rares or mythics.
I can pick
Archangel
them, but
Wrath.
I'm ready to be wrong.
That's the 4 mana 3/4 lifelink that has 2 kickers in black and red and deals 2 damage for each of those kickers if you paid them.
Wait. I need to empty my hat. I need to
Just go
put
to
our
Scryfall for God's sake and write.
No, I need
That's
to
what I'm
put my
doing.
Mesa. I need to put our
Oh.
Mesa Cavalier predictions down.
Oh god, the important stuff
Oh.
in life.
Mesa Cavalier. Okay. Jason said.
I said it's going to have a 1 percentage point higher win rate than average 17 lens user.
No, but we were comparing it to
Which
white.
will be 0.7 lower than the average white.
I said -1.
Benji went with -2,
Yeah.
and then I gave it an over. Right.
Under.
So under, yeah. So lower than -2. Alrighty. And then what are we going to predict now?
Rares. I'm at least predicting top 3 rares. Game and hand win
rares?
rate, obviously.
Alrighty. I
I'm
can come
ready
up
to
with
be
some.
wrong. Yeah.
I can
I'll
come up
try.
with some. Yeah.
So I'm going for Archangel of Wrath.
I'm not writing these correctly, but that doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's fine. It actually is correct. Shivan Devastator. And just let me look for which one was my 3rd one. Sarah Paragon.
I don't even know what that card is.
Oh,
I
that
knew
makes
that.
It's like Lurus, but better.
Okay, it's the Lurus. Okay.
Yes,
It's in
that one
Lurus,
is
but
Okay,
better.
wait, what? I guess I should pick that card.
Yeah, that card is like making my top 3 probably.
Sarah Paragon. Okay. Yeah, that card's insane.
It is insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. All right, I think I have mine. I'll go with the Sarah Paragon, and I will go with the Shivan Devastator because that seems pretty straightforward, unfortunately. And the last one, I think I'm gonna go with the green black. The like, I think it's a Nemata, but it like makes saplings and draws cards and has like a Kalitas effect.
Ooh, now you gotta help me.
sorry.
Is the mythic or a rare?
I'm pretty sure it's a mythic. Oh, it's a rare. Okay. But it's Nemata something.
Namada, Primeval Warden.
Yeah, it's got like a ton of text on it. I think that card could be
Jesus
super.
Christ, how did you hear me from the other room? Am I so loud?
Oh yeah, always.
Jeez, I was like literally 2 rooms away. And I realized that I said something when I'm not near to the microphone. I said, dumbass. Oh, it worked.
Yeah, we got there.
Okay, what do you got, Jason?
Okay, so I have two of mine. Archangel of Wrath. I'll even give an order. Archangel of Wrath number 1. Defiler of Vigor number 2.
Yeah, that thing is just like that's insane.
Definitely have no idea what this card does.
Ooh,
And then
It's
number
like-
3 is where
What was
I'm
this
starting.
uncommon from
Oh.
Kaladesh?
I put the Defiler of Vigor in my green-red deck. I was like, this is a random busted card. Yeah, totally. That card's great.
which color is it?
The green one.
Green. It's the green
Vigor.
one.
Green one. I'm trying to find it. Oh, here it is. Figure. 5 mana Fraction Worm, 6/6 trample. 1/1 counter each creature. Alright.
Whenever you cast a green creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that you control, and you can cast your creatures for cheaper because you can pay life to do that.
Also,
and
it's
it's
a
a
doesn't
5
5 mana
mana
though.
6/6 trample. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
It does
it's
die
insane.
to removal.
Not
Yes.
the 5 damage.
not
one.
so very many removal
Yeah.
spells.
it does die to the worst color in the format. Oh, and according to some at least.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Here's a hot take. Quirion Beast Caller.
Ooh,
You gotta help
like
me here.
it.
Where
I
is
like
it?
it.
Where is it?
I like it.
Yeah, I have no
It's
idea.
a
Okay, here
2
we go.
mana 2/2.
Oh, it's busted then.
It grows for every creature that
Ooh.
comes into your play, or you cast. Because if it's you cast, then I'm not on
It's
it.
cast. It's cast.
It's
Whenever
cast.
you cast
What?
a creature spell.
It
What
doesn't
kind
work
of
with the
beast
call
color
of
is it?
Captain Skull.
I don't know the word that is in
que-
front of it.
It's Quirion, like Quirion Ranger and like Quirion Elves.
Ah.
That's my hot take. It's probably wrong. Like it's probably not better than Devastator or Paragon. I think Paragon's probably being overrated a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like your choices, but I want to like name some others. I think I'll go with
Oh, you're
Sheldred.
muting yourself, Jason. Oh. Is it...
Hmm?
You were
Oh yeah,
muted,
Shoulder
Jason.
looks insane because it just drains them and it's a huge
Yeah,
body.
but Sheldred is like it's good. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but I
Dice
don't think it's as
removal.
good as.
I was also looking at Solkanar the Swamp King.
But they're black cards, and that's a problem. I think that the Braids will be very
Solkanar the
good.
Tainted.
But Solkanar this is like one of the most problematic cards I've seen in terms of bombs in this format because you run out of options at some stage, and
Oh yeah,
And
that
then
card's
you
gonna
sacrifice it.
block.
no, they give it to the opponent. Oh, you sacrifice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like you use bone splinters.
Bone Splinters. Yeah, I mean.
It does a lot.
Sarah Paragon. I'm just going to play Sarah Paragon. Played the Paweł Sierociński Invitational card in what's the name? Phyrexian thingy 3/1.
Banalish Sleeper.
Banalish Sleeper and make them sacrifice something. Sacrifice my Banalish
Ooh.
Sleeper. Replay it next turn, and I keep my Sarah Paragon. That's it. That's how we play it.
Easy game.
What do we think is a better card, Archangel of Wrath or Sarah Paragon?
I think Archangel of Wrath is better. Like, keep in mind
It's
that
better,
this
but
2
it's 3
damage that it
colors.
deals has lifelink. So basically, if you cast it for 6 mana, it's just like 3/4 with lifelink. I kill 2 of your creatures and gain 4 life.
Yeah, I think so too.
Isn't it?
I'll add
gain
that
6?
one. I'll pick one.
Doesn't it deal 3 when it?
No,
Three
two.
times
two.
you get-
Deals
2, I
it
think.
deals 2
Oh, it
for
deals
each
2?
kicker that
Okay.
you play.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought it was 3, so it's like it's worse than I thought. But I'm still comfortable playing
It's
that
terrible.
one.
Yeah, I know. It's like basically trash tier instantly.
Alrighty then. Okay, those are our predictions. Let's evaluate in a couple of weeks from now. See
Yeah.
where we're at.
Should be fun.
I'm sure that the worst thing is that I'm sure you're going to. Let's keep it 2 weeks.
2 weeks. In 2 weeks from now, we meet again. We do like a short 1
I mean,
hour.
we don't need to meet again. We don't. I mean, I don't mind meeting again, but
Just like make a tweet or something. I don't know.
make a tweet or
Sure.
something, yeah, and then say like, okay,
Sure.
Paweł is a dumb ass, and
Ben's just real stupid.
Jason was right all along, and Queer and Beast Color confirmed.
I'm gonna pick
busted.
Namada, and Namada's gonna have like a 54% game in hand win rate, and I'm gonna be like, okay, that was incorrect.
I mean, and then you're gonna still feel good about yourself because it's still better than the young red dragon.
Yeah, exactly. It could always be worse.
Alrighty then. Okay, let's wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for joining us. If you're still around, that's super impressive. If not, no harm done.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for having us.
Yeah,
This was fun.
thanks, folks. Was good. Yeah, I really enjoyed this edition. Like honestly, like I had fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this set. I think it's going to be great.
Like, first of all,
Always
the
a
set
blast.
looks dope, but I think that
Mhm.
second of all, we're just moving it more towards the most relaxed review with the most chilling rather than being super
Hot
serious.
takes.
Because
Yes,
we started like super seriously, and I think that now
Yes.
we're just at the right level of chill.
Yeah, I don't think I've like made a coherent 2-color deck archetype in like 3 sets now.
And it makes me feel better because I'm like, I can't, like, I look at these 2-color decks and I'm like, dude, if I build a 2-color deck, it's terrible. And they just put like 5 colors in and still somehow end up with like bad cards.
Jason, also, let's keep in mind that you didn't make a coherent 2-color deck in 3 sets, and yet probably your like coming up with the idea that Imperial Oath is going to be the best card in Kamigawa was the biggest the biggest thing that came out of our meetings basically in ever.
Thanks, but yeah.
Well, I mean, no, there's nothing to thank for. It's just objectively true. I mean, it's like you're now
Fair,
Jason, the Imperial Oath guy, thanks to that. So that
Hey,
that's good for
NCAA gets
everyone.
credit as well.
Yeah.
NCAA like
No,
was the person who like
I
talked me
tried
up
to
on
give
that card a bit.
NCAA the
Right.
credit
But
as
then-
much as I could.
But then he started to champion mono black, and then he sort of lost credit. Like the graph went down from there.
Did you see? By the way, did you see the Lola and NCAA and
No, because
Scott,
it's
Yeah.
20 hours long.
Scott Inada?
They had some technical difficulties, but it was
Oh
fun.
god,
The-
that was a good review. Like Lola going on like 1 hour tangent between cards. I think I'm like 7 hour of the set
Oh,
review.
wow.
yeah,
We
yeah, they
are
went deep.
approaching. We are almost finishing with multicolor cards because there were so many tangentials. They were great, all of them. It was amazing viewing. But I saw Scott, and he looked like he's a tired person after 7 hours. And then second day of the review, he didn't appear.
Yeah, they
It was
literally had
just
to do like
NCAA and
3
Lola,
or
equally
yeah.
tangential.
But so they had to do like 3 or 4 separate days or something, right, to wrap it
Yeah.
all up.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
All
It's
right.
still great review. Don't get me wrong, great review. But God, the tangents there.
Yes,
Yeah,
it could have
I
been.
am excited to play the set. I think it's possible that I will be less active in having public opinions about the set, given that it is the format that like for the arena championship that I'm going to be competing in. So like maybe I should, hold my cards closer to my chest or something. But we'll see.
Is there going to be limited in the championship?
Yes,
Yeah.
there
Oh, wow.
is one. So there's one draft, 3 rounds, and then there's 9 rounds of alchemy constructed.
When
And
is the
then-
championship?
Yeah,
It's,
give me a shout if you want like a couple of hours of data, whatever thingies, in front of
It's-
it
It's
from
like,
like a
a
third
month from
person
now.
perspective.
It's September 25th, a month from now.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it will be good at 10 days before to like have a quick private call, not public, and have a quick chat about the format. I think.
I think okay. So I suspect that might not actually be that useful because like pod draft is a lot different than drafting on arena.
That's
so
true.
like I am going to be like testing with some friends, like just drafting pod drafts. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. It's also like only a
my dog
only a
just pooed.
quarter,
I'm pretty sure.
I think of the arena championship, so it's not like that important. Is not as important as alchemy, unfortunately.
I know. But like you definitely want to go 3-0 in limited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've,
it would be nice.
But
been
also
watching
like seeing how people from limited grinding scene go, I'm quite convinced that it's going to be fine.
Icky did super good last
Yeah, but
championship,
Florida
right?
man also did well. The one
Oh yeah,
before.
that's true too.
Yeah, so
It's just
limited
I know,
grinders.
doesn't perform.
I know Nizumi is also qualified for this championship.
Oh, that's
All right.
awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were.
Who is?
Nizumi, they're not. I don't know how active they are. Like, I don't know if they're like on Twitter or anything, but they are. I also don't know what like arena username they use. So like, I don't think Nizumi is the name on like 17 Lands leaderboards. But like, I've seen them in like various Twitch chats. They like are definitely a limited grinder.
Yeah, they play in some of the pod draft leagues and stuff that I'll play in sometimes. And yeah, they're a super strong player for sure.
Like fuck, I'm missing all those things because it's like all American time that starts 3 a.m. where I am.
Yeah. I tried for the stream. The what was it called? The sweatsuit, but it died down. But that one I was willing to like take a short night for.
Yeah, no, it was never like. I actually literally started my seminars exactly with sweatsuit in mind because I started it 2 hours before sweatsuit starts so that people have something to do before sweatsuit starts.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah.
And then they moved it to a different day.
Yeah,
And then someone else moved on the same day to make their recordings and whatever.
That's
the rest is history.
You're not going to Paris, Pawel, are you? Are you planning to go to any of the?
I mean, some day of my life, I hope. But
no, but like, are you planning on playing any paper magic in the European tour?
No.
Ah,
I'm content with my FNM. Maybe like now that my wife owes me like big time for her Spanish trip, emergency field course, leaving me with the shitting dog and the kid that still has holidays. Maybe now I can actually squeeze out a trip to some kind of a GP like event.
Hey, listen, I got it from like very well, how do you say that, informed sources that there's going to be one of those events in Amsterdam later this year or beginning next calendar year. How about you visit that one?
010, jawel.
Jawel? Nice. All right, that's Dutch for yes.
Ik weet niet. Misschien...
Nou,
Het hangt op als ik kan vliegen uit Exeter. Als ik niet uit Exeter kan vliegen, dan weet ik niet. Maar als het is een vliegtuig uit Exeter, dan kan ik.
That was pretty impressive. That was like solid Dutch. Thanks, Pawel. Sure. If there's a flight from Exeter, jij kan. Mooi. Heb ik zin in. Zou leuk zijn.
Dat kan wel.
Alrighty. And Jason Tajoordan, if you're ever interested in visiting the Netherlands, you're more than welcome. You know that.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably not that interested in traveling right now. Like, I wish.
If Benji is super American, he will never go away from state borders of the state that he lives in.
I would love to.
There's
Do you
that
have a
Magic
passport
Summit
even?
event.
I do, but then it was stolen when my sister's car was broken into, and so I currently have an enhanced driver's license. But yeah, I do not
actually,
like. Have
maybe
a passport
Benji
right
is
now.
just close to you.
That's a fascinating concept to like a European person that you do not have a passport. Like I have colleagues in Atlanta, and then when I bring up like, hey, we're probably like meeting up with the entire global team in Veghel, the Netherlands, they're like, oh, when is that? I need to order a passport. And we're like, wait, what? You can't identify yourself? How does this work?
Like, no, in Poland we have an ID, but everyone has a passport because at one stage of your life you went to Germany for Burger King or whatever.
Europe just has like all the countries are just like so much smaller and closer together. While in the U.S., like going out of the U.S. is like a journey.
You know that to travel in Europe, you don't need a passport at all. You can just have, like,
Sometimes, like for the UK, Swiss.
yeah, okay, UK
like,
because
I mean,
some
they're
but like it's good to have ID, right? We're like some people might just like not leave the US ever.
Like
And,
my daughter of 2 has a passport. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Oh, my daughter had her first international travel when she was 2 months old.
Yeah. So for us, it's like very normal that you. Yeah.
And
It's
that's her
interesting.
third passport right now.
Yeah. But again, if you
Right.
ever feel the itch to visit, then feel free to hit me up.
I'm not even inviting because no one bloody wants to come to Cornwall.
Yeah.
And that's not in
Well-
Wales, by the way. Don't trust Marshall. He's lying to you. It's fake news.
Oh, I never
That was
trust
a good
Marshall
conversation.
unless it's about like a vintage watch.
You two, yeah, you two have some good conversations about where Cornwall is and
I still have
whether
to make
you
the Twitter thread, by the way. I still have to make the 10 thread Twitter information about what is Cornwall, where is it, and where is it not.
sounds good. Sounds like content I would give a heart to.
Yeah,
Shall we wrap it up, folks? I mean, it's
Yeah.
so
I think
we've
we've
already
already
wrapped up. I
wrapped it
think
up.
that we just like
Yeah.
winding
Yeah.
down basically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
all
So
right.
we can
all right.
ship us to someone else.
Yeah, let's do that.
Both of the people that still
Indeed,
watch
if there
it.
are 2 people left, then I'll
Oh,
ship
yeah.
them out, and then
But by the way, I think that this time I can make it into a podcast format. So just send me the audio if you can.
I will. Thanks, Zoix. Thanks for
Awesome.
sticking around. Much appreciated.
Take care, Zoe.
Guys, it's been
Appreciate
pleasant as
you.
fuck.
Yep, it's been great.
Let's ship people over to where do we want to ship folks?
Cordo?
Cordo, yeah, sure.
Always
sure,
a
sure.
solid selection.
Solid selection, yeah. Okay, folks, thanks everyone.
Not that
And,
he needs more people watching him.
Yeah, that's true. 2 weeks from now, we'll meet again, or at least
Yeah.
we meet on Twitter
Sounds
to
good.
battle it out.
Making fun of Benji.
Yep,
and his-
exactly. My Namada pick.
By the way, one thing we didn't do was the win rate of the Smash to Dust.
Ooh,
Yeah.
We should have done it. But okay, that's too late now. It's too late now. That's
Yeah,
fine.
no.
But we should have
I
done
don't
that.
want to predict the win rate of that card. It's like a
Oh.
card that is
Yeah.
like sideboard cards have win rate anyways.
Oh,
Yeah, right. Sander might get like a fluke like 70% after 2 weeks.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah. But we only would do it in best of one. No, you don't do it in best of
Ah.
3.
Okay.
Or you
All
do
right.
it in best of 1 and best of 3, but only game 1.
Alrighty, folks, it was a pleasure. Bye.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.